The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-host, John Luke Garofalo. What's up, JL?
What up? Good morning.
How you doing this morning? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my best. How you doing?
I'm doing my best. That's all we can really ask
Hell
for,
yeah.
right? We're killing it. If
We're
you came in
killing
here
it.
at like 7 a.m. on a Friday morning and you were like, never been freaking better, I would be like, where is JL and what have you done with him? Because 7 a.m. is too early for anyone to be perfect.
Way
Everyone in the
too
chat,
early.
hope you guys are enjoying your morning out there. We got Tommy in here, I think, dropping some bars from his first mixtape that he's released. And it says, Simon in jail. It must be time for the show. It's a football Friday and I'm ready, set, go.
Oh, Tommy with the fire, bro. When's that album dropping?
What if, I don't know why I was just visualizing. I say ready, set, go. Both of us just get up and take off.
Ran.
On go. Just run off the room. It's empty. Nobody's saying anything.
Keith's panicking.
No,
Because we didn't tell him ahead of time.
Stop.
Not a funny joke.
Guys, it is time for some bring your own breakfast. We hope you brought your own breakfast because we just brought news stories to talk about. We brought things that we need to hit on. John Luke, what do you got for us this morning?
I hate when you ask me what do I got for us this morning.
Is
You
it
know
a bagel?
what? It's a bagel. It's
Wow.
granola. Haha, Nature Valley. Let's go.
Beautiful. And I've got my giant cup of water because I need to down at least 3 of those before I can put any food into my body in the morning.
Giant glass of water. All right, first news story, Simon. And I hate to start us off this way, but the Raiders' beloved Raiders are placing tight end Darren Waller on the injured reserve. Waller apparently aggravated his hamstring injury, and the team believes this will give him 4 weeks to get it healthy and come back to finish the season. This all comes from Adam Schefter. So it can be trusted, allegedly. What are you thinking about this, Simon? Does this break your heart?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit because what it does is, Darren Waller has not been a difference maker at the tight end position on your team like you drafted him to be all year. This Raiders offense hasn't been able to get it going, and now he's going to be on IR for 4 weeks, which means unless you just have an extra IR spot, Darren Waller is droppable in fantasy. Like, he's just not worth at this point holding a roster spot while you wait for him to get healthy, because what do you expect when he gets back? Probably more of what we saw before he left, right? Which is not an every week slam dunk start at tight end. It's not even an every week start at tight end. We can take the slam dunk out of it. So this is disappointing, and it might be the end of Darren Waller's life. Relevance as a top tier tight end. Know what I mean? Like in that Travis Kelce, George Kittle tier. I don't think we're going to be talking about him in that tier next year based on what we saw this year.
I think you're right. It's going to be hard to overcome now 2 years of that stank on him. It's going to be really tough for him. But, we move on. Darren Waller, do you think that he could ever bounce back?
Yeah, I think he'll play again. He'll come back and he'll be a relevant tight end. I just don't think he's the top tier target hog on his team that we want him to be, right? Still got the talent, but it has not come to fruition this year. In jail, it wasn't just Darren Waller that got added to the IR for the Raiders. Hunter Renfrow was also added to the IR for the Raiders. So Waller and Renfrow going onto the IR, not going to be available for at least the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, that is a bummer. Hunter Renfrow. So, is this Matt Collins season? Are you starting Matt Collins in any leagues?
I think you can start Matt Collins, but I still think he's going to be an outside receiver. I don't think he's going to fill in that Hunter Renfrow or that Darren Waller role. So he's still very much a boom bust kind of player to plug into your lineup in my eyes. But
Right.
that boom has become a little bit more likely with
A
the other
little
two
boomy.
receiving options out. A little more boomy.
It's got a
and
little more boom to it.
And a little bit more likely for it to happen, right? Like before, it wasn't as likely. They've got fewer options now, but they still have a healthy outside receiver. So maybe they try to take a couple more shots to the outside with Mac Hollins and connects on one of those touchdowns. You're good to go.
It's just Mac Hollins and Devontae Adams season.
Man, I just feel like the Raiders, like some of this is just bad luck. It has to be. Like they signed Antonio Brown. Like they always think they're getting like the killer receiver core, right? Like Antonio Brown, they sign him. He freezes his feet off or something. I forget exactly what the spectacle was with the Raiders. And then he's like, I'm not playing here. I'm done. Right. They draft multiple early round wide receivers, Brian Edwards and Henry Ruggs. Brian Edwards doesn't work out, obviously. And Henry Ruggs, that was a catastrophe last year. Like it was just horrible to watch, right? Like it was truly one of the worst things we've seen happen. And the Raiders drafted him. And then this year, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow on the IR. They signed Devontae Adams. They think, okay, look at this receiving core. Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller. Like they are feeling good. Now Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller on the IR, and Derek Carr is playing like buns water and doing his best to support Devontae Adams. So really it's just Devontae Adams left sitting out there.
Yeah. No, you're right. Tommy said, can we move on now, please? That's not news, like the Raiders slander.
Today, we are just having a Raiders show. We're going to go over every draft pick they've made in the last 3 years.
Every mistake, every misstep in excruciating detail.
And then we're going to talk for 30 minutes about the scent of John Gruden's armpits is going to be one of the segments here. We each spent a lot of time studying.
Yes, we did. Tommy says, I'm out. No, you're not.
It's hard to get
leave.
It's hard to get a good whiff of John Gruden's armpits, though. He's really sensitive about it.
He's not very forthcoming with the armpit whiffs.
You're like, hey, let me get that whiff. And he's like,
no.
No. He's like, you can sniff my leg, but you can't sniff my armpit.
Not my pits. Maria said, good morning, my FYF frenemies. Good morning, frenemy. And she said, maybe he can use some Febreze. Probably could. Probably could.
I used to be Febreze obsessed as a kid.
Did you used to Febreze your pits when they stink?
No, absolutely not. No,
Did you Febreze yourself when you stunk?
No, but I would Febreze myself just because there would be a Febreze bottle nearby and I was a child with a lack of impulse control. Know what I mean? Like I like the smell. Here's the bottle. Just squirt. Like it was not like, oh, good. I stink. It was just like this pushes. I'm right here. No impulse control. Squirted on myself.
Gross sentence.
I love Febreze.
No, I've always been like a
squirted on myself. I hate when that happens. We got Jolly Rancher in the chat. Good morning, Mom.
Good morning,
Happy Veterans Day, FYF. Absolutely.
Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there. And Tommy said, how about them Browns? Yeah. Not a good franchise either. A pretty embarrassing franchise. We could,
but not much to talk about. Not as embarrassing as the Raiders right now. That's for sure.
Not yet. I don't know. Depends what we're classifying as embarrassing. On the field, possibly not. Tommy in here, he says, what about Josh Allen's elbow? We don't have to talk about the Raiders. We can talk about Josh Allen's elbow. That is a great point. So it sounds like it is minor, and Josh Allen is going to be day to day going forward. What that sounds like to me is I bet he plays, but I bet he plays with like a brace on. I bet he plays slightly injured. We see less shots downfield. It was Joey who brought it up yesterday on one of our other shows, Joey Wright of Front Yard Fantasy. He came on and he was talking about how Josh Allen has been getting most of the work inside the red zone, like inside the 10-yard line whenever it comes to running the ball in. With his injured arm, especially on his throwing arm, maybe we see Devin Singletary get more of those inside the 10-yard line carries as they're being a little bit careful with Josh Allen's recovery.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that occurring. It seems like, we have no new news from yesterday. It still seems like he is day to day, but I would be willing to throw Devin Singletary into my matchups and my lineups this weekend.
What was the stat Joey said yesterday? Devin Singletary is the running back with the most rushing attempts or rushing yards without a touchdown yet this year. Like he's getting the work. Just Josh Allen's the red zone guy. And so we could see Devin Singletary get his first touchdown. If
we could see that.
If Case Keenum's playing, how does that affect these receiving options for you? Are you still starting everybody?
I'm still starting Diggs. He's locked in every week, regardless of who's under center. And then Gabe Davis, I'd be willing to start. And I think that's it. I think that's the end of my line here. What about you?
Dawson Knox. You throwing Dawson Knox into your lineup?
If I have to. It's the same policy that's been all year, which is if I have to throw in Dawson Knox, I will. But otherwise, no.
He's startable. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going out on the waiver wire and being like, oh yes, Dawson Knox is there in this matchup against the Vikings. But if I need to start him, if my tight end is Darren Waller and Dawson Knox is the best player on the waiver wire, right, I'm willing to throw him into my lineup.
That's fair. Simon, did you see Las Vegas? Let's bring it back to the Raiders here. Linebacker Blake Martinez retires from football at 28. Raiders linebacker. I think he used to be on the Packers.
Did he give a reason?
The reason being, had an amazing journey with some incredible franchises and made lifelong friends. I have chosen to step away from this career at this time to focus on my family and future passions. I am excited for this new journey and appreciate all the fans and organizations that have supported me throughout the years.
And Tommy coming in with some further analysis saying they suck.
They suck.
That was the reason.
That was
you know
the
what?
reason.
Props to him. I'm excited to see what he does next. And if people want to retire, it's a violent game. It's a game that takes a massive toll on your body. No shame in retiring. 28 is a fairly long career in the NFL, right? Most people don't even make it past that 3-year mark.
Yeah. Yeah. That is it's the same Blake Martinez that was on the Packers, isn't it?
I would assume so, unless there's multiple Blake Martinez's in the NFL.
Probably not. That's such an uncommon name.
Is it? I guess there could be. No, he was on the Packers. That's his and on the Giants last year. And then this year on the Raiders.
That's cool.
It was on the Giants last year, on the Raiders this year. A 4th-round pick in 2016 out of Stafford. Ooh, you know what? That probably helps him too make that decision, right? If you're 28, things aren't going well, it's taking a toll on your body, and your backup is you're an NFL player with a degree from Stanford, you're probably in a pretty good spot, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. That concludes
easier.
Our brief defensive player segment of our 3-hour show.
We'll no longer talk about what college you went to.
Yeah, we will no longer be talking about defensive players. Sorry, Craig.
Craig, if you want to come on and let us know about some defensive players, come on up here. I would love
hit that call button. Hit that call. Hit that fun button for Craig.
I would love to hear the IDP updates. Did you see Aaron Rodgers' comment yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, JL?
No.
He was asked about, or he had a message for his critics following his interception-filled game, and he said, look, I've thrown touchdown passes many times. I don't give a shit what any of these experts on TV have to say. There's a lot that goes into all these things, and for someone to play armchair quarterback who doesn't know what the hell play we're running or what's going on, that's fine. I don't give a shit, to be honest with you.
Damn, bro, you mad?
I don't know. It sounds to me like someone gives a shit.
That sounds like the shit that you are serving up, sir. I love when people are big mad, but trying to convince you that they're not big mad.
Like in that statement was the laughing, crying emoji. Like he put it on there, like just in real life. Like it's like whenever someone says, like, I'm not even mad, bro, with the laugh cry emoji, you know you ruined their day. Like 100%. You know you got them.
100%.
God, I just keep reading quotes from it. I'm like, dude, you got to know how it sounds. Like, you got to know how it sounds.
Was he an only child?
No.
There's like all that drama with his family, right? He's not an only child.
His brother won the Bachelor on JoJo, or the Bachelorette on JoJo's season. So JoJo was the Bachelorette. Jordan Rodgers was on there. And if you watch that season, it was honestly not exciting because it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win from like pretty much the beginning. Everyone else sucked. And she just kind of locked onto him early, right? And I feel like I had judgment towards him. He kind of had like pretty boy status, and I was an NFL fan, so I knew of Aaron Rodgers, and he was very like hateful towards
like
his brother.
Rodgers?
Yeah, they got a similar look. They got a similar look, but he was very like, yeah, we don't talk to my brother. Like mention it, and I was like, what? Like that's weird. And so I kind of judged him. But now, you know what? I get it. I get it. I'm not sure I would talk to him either if he was my brother. I think I just let him go do his thing. Like, I'm Team Jordan now. Maybe they're both shitty people, but if I got to pick one, I'm picking that one.
Yeah. I don't even know him, and I'd probably pick him.
I mean, but to go on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, which is meant to be dramatic and create drama, and honestly to make you look a little bit like a shitty person, and to come out looking better than your brother who's in the – like, there is no requirement to appear any sort of way in the NFL. know what I mean? You can just be an NFL player. Like there's not like drama built in, right? You got to build your own drama in. And Aaron Rodgers somehow still involved in more drama than his brother was on the season of The Bachelorette.
So wild.
There was another one, JL, from this same interview with Pat McAfee yesterday. He said, this quote said, "I always believe in myself first, and I bet on myself first to go out there and to impact the game and to be great. I still know I have that within me. I'm still the reigning, defending 2-time MVP. Regardless who's out there with me, guys want to come to battle. They know where to find me. I'll be in the center of that huddle, expecting greatness, trying to inspire the best I can and lay it out on the line." It started like, you know what? I got to stay believing in myself. And I was like, okay, I can get in. I was reading this quote and I was like, it seems like it was taken out of context. But then the back half of that feels like he's saying like, I'm still the best. I just need everyone else to come be inspired by me.
Yeah.
Like
just come be around me. If you want to be inspired, cool. Otherwise, get out of here.
Just such a dweeb. Like Maria said it in the chats. He's such a dweeb. I agree, Maria. Man.
Dweeb is just the perfect term for him.
I was telling Leanne about the temper tantrum he threw on the sideline the other day while we were watching games, and all of a sudden, like in the middle of a different game, they cut to like that clip. They were talking Aaron Rodgers, and they show him just like on the field after that pick, just like screaming and throwing an absolute temper tantrum. I was like, that's it, that's the guy.
There it is. Look, Leanne.
Watch. He's so mad.
Oh man, Aaron Rodgers, big baby. I'm not worried about it. We'll see. Do you think that he can turn around this season?
I don't know, man. I keep thinking he was going to, but it's getting kind of late, isn't it? We're going into week 10 and nothing's really changing. Yeah. I got more faith in the Buccaneers and Tom Brady to turn it around. I feel like we've seen flashes than I do Aaron Rodgers here in Green Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, Tommy said changing his name to Aaron McDouche.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron was censored there. I'm not sure what got censored, Tommy, but you've been a bad boy in the chat. If McDouche made it through, but whatever you put before
Aaron McDouche.
Yeah, don't say Aaron in the chat. Don't say Aaron, guys. It'll get edited right out.
Simon, Jeff Saturday in an interview mentioned, he said, this is his quote, "We're understaffed. Let's be real. The two guys that called our plays, the OC and the head coach are all gone. That's a big deal. I hope people understand the weight of what that is. It's a tall task ahead, but we're going to step by step, day by day."
Do it again.
Day by day.
Ah, thank you. That just gave me a little bit of life, Jail. That was so good. I didn't know you could do your voice that low. Sensual.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? Like the more I hear this guy talk, it's just like mad props to him. That is so like
I'm gaining respect by the minute.
Like I appreciate that he is not deluded about the position he's in. Know what I mean? Like he is 100% like, yeah, guys, this is nuts. He's like, this is nuts, and I should not be here, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do my best. Like we're just gonna go for it. But man, I'm in a pretty tough situation with absolutely no experience here. So bear with me, guys.
I'm really up against it, guys.
Like imagine like they're about to launch the first spacecraft to land on Mars with humans in it, and they cut to this like they're like interviewing the astronauts, and then one of them talks. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I was just working at the Quick Trip down the street, and in walks the head of NASA asking me if I want to go to space. He said I needed a new perspective. So here we are. Don't know much about space. Don't know much about spaceships, but we're gonna do our best
together,
guys.
step by step.
Step by step. We are gonna put this ship together." But I guess it's football,
pretty
not outer
wild.
space.
Pretty football, pretty outer space, pretty wild.
I read something yesterday that
I'm excited to watch this game.
Just the Colts in general, or this game in particular?
This is the first game that we get Jeff Saturday. I'm just excited to see it.
You're right. You know what? Because it's probably not going to be exciting the second time. Like it's probably only like there's probably going to be a lot less uncertainty after number one. Like yeah, and they do suck.
Right.
Yep,
We're either going to know, yep, they suck, or wow, they're good. What is happening?
That would be bizarre, wouldn't it? What if Sam Ehlinger comes out and just puts on like his best like prime Peyton Manning performance?
It's going to happen.
Just absolutely blows. And Tommy said again, back to the Raiders because they're playing the Raiders this weekend.
Always comes back to the Raiders.
I think you're safe. But that's not.
I did see kind of a crazy Raider stat that I will throw in right here. It is where did it go? Oh no. Come back to me. I'll find it.
Okay, I'll come back to you whenever you find that stat. What's the line in this game? The Raiders favored by 4.5 points. So 4.5 points the Raiders are favored by, and it's only a 40.5 over under. So they're expecting this to be a kind of gross, low-scoring game, and for the Raiders to win it at home.
Oh, here it is. So this is from Schefter, but maybe it was deleted. No, I think this is from Schefter. Due to various injuries, the Raiders now will have had their big four: Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller on the field together this season for a grand total of 43 plays.
Hot damn. That's almost the whole game.
43 plays.
Man, good job, guys. You almost did a whole game with your 4 best players. Man, Hunter Renfrow is probably thrilled to be included in that tweet that says the Raiders, big 4, Devontae Adams, Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and the 5'10" guy who carries grapes around with the balding haircut. Like he's just like, I made it, guys. Here I am. Me and Devontae Adams are in the same group.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. But you know what? He deserves it. He
does. It is nothing about whether he deserves it or not. Just, man, I don't think people expected him to make this impact whenever he came into the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams did not practice yesterday, according to the Chargers injury report. That is a big bummer. Big bummer. Joshua Palmer season.
I believe our friend Dame came into one of our shows yesterday, Joe, and said the sleeper update for Keenan Allen was brutal. It said, like, per usual, Keenan Allen out of practice again. Like, it just had to throw the little, like, per usual stomach punch in there instead of just saying, like, Keenan Allen not a participant at practice.
Yeah. That is brutal, per usual. As per usual.
I mean, it feels like for a couple weeks now, it's been the question, is this the week Keenan Allen comes back? Is this the week Keenan Allen comes back? Like, it's felt like there's been a lot more uncertainty around this injury. Kind of like the Michael Thomas injury where we were just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Right.
Do you think we see Keenan Allen back on the field this season?
I think we do. I think we do see him probably a little later. Maybe in next week would be my guess if I had to put money on it. What about you?
I hope so. I would assume next week we see him back. This Chargers team is still competitive, right? They're hoping to make a playoff run this year. And in order to do that, they're going to need Keenan Allen most likely. So I imagine they're incentivized to make sure he's back on the field, maybe more incentivized than the Saints were to do so.
Yeah, no, they make that playoff run. The Chargers feel like they're so close every year.
Every year I think they're the team. Like every year I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, this is the team. This is the team to beat. And then they can never quite put it together.
Right.
Do you think it's a coaching thing that's getting them there? I know people love to hate on their coaching because of all the analytics-driven decisions.
I don't think
Anti-Jim Irsay.
Anti-Irsay. I don't think it's the analytics or you ask coaching specifically. I don't know that it's coaching. I think people do hate Brandon Staley for not a good reason. Like they should be.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, I like him too. I think he's a good coach. I think they've just been dealing with injuries. Honestly, the last 2 years they've been dealing with really bad injuries.
What's going on there in California? I feel like it's the California teams. Like San Francisco can't quite stay healthy. LA can't quite stay healthy. Other LA can't quite stay healthy.
Maybe that Tyrod Taylor like rib injection thing was just like the start. Maybe they've just been slowly trying to injure their own players.
Maybe it's just karmic retribution for that from this moment on. Like maybe the conspiracies are true. Let's have the Front Yard Fantasy Sports Conspiracy Hour.
Yes.
Where we just spread completely unfounded sports conspiracy theories for the next hour.
Yes.
Sometimes it's fun to just suspend disbelief and be like, yeah, that's what's going on.
That's
but then
true.
You always got to come back to reality instead of living on that side.
Never. I refuse.
Also, Tommy was in here saying Josh Jacobs is going to get run into the ground this week for the Raiders, and he will get 40 touches. 40 touches for Josh Jacobs. Do you think this is a big Josh Jacobs week, Joe? Because he's been rather disappointing the last 2 weeks for fantasy managers.
I don't know about 40 touches, but I hope it's a big Josh Jacobs week. My goodness. I think it could be. Going against Chargers, Derwin James. Maybe they can't get the passing game going.
I hope it's a big Josh Adams week as well, JL.
Josh Adams. Yes, I hope Josh Adams has a fantastic week. I'm telling him I miss him.
Josh Adams is and I typed in Josh Adams jail on Google just out of curious, and the first thing comes up, he is a football running back.
Yeah, there was a Josh Adams at one point.
Yeah, he was on the Eagles, signed as an undrafted free agent in 2018. Looks like he's a free agent right now. So Josh Adams, man, I hope it's your week too. I hope it's your week.
You get signed.
I hope you find yourself onto a team and get 40 touches.
Hope you find your forever home, Josh Adams.
And Tommy said he played with Sammy Coates. My favorite player, Sammy Coates. The very first jersey we ever gave away on the stream was Sammy Coates.
Sammy MF and Coates.
Sammy MF and Ben Coates. I believe was his name for the full name on there. Jail, I saw a story yesterday. Ari Myrov tweeted this out, that before the Falcons-Panthers game yesterday, Falcons left tackle Jake Matthews, he traveled with the team to Carolina. Then yesterday morning, found out his wife went into labor, turned around, drove back to Atlanta for the birth of their first child, and then turned back around and made it back to Carolina for the game.
What?
Dude had a busy day.
How far? Atlanta to Charlotte?
About 3 hours.
3 hours?
3 hours.
I've gone to each of them from Clemson, but never from one to the other.
I believe it's about 3 hours, unless I'm lying to you.
Interesting. Okay, so 3 hours. That's doable, but that's a lot of driving.
About 4 hours, actually. It's about 4 hours.
That's decent. So he was in the car for 8 hours.
Yeah, and it was a Thursday driving into and out of Atlanta. Like, let's be real. It did not take him 4 hours. Like, that took him probably 5 hours, depending on what time he was going in there. A busy day. Jake Matthews must have skipped walkthroughs. He just said, I got to go. My child's being born, hopped in the car.
And then he drive home after the game?
I assume he probably traveled back with the team.
What did he do with his car?
Well, maybe he rented a car because he probably didn't have a car there, right? If he traveled up with the team. So either rented and or borrowed a car while he was in Carolina, returned it.
Sorry, I skipped your step. Drove back, returned it.
And we skipped a couple steps. Opened the door, climbed in the driver's seat, put the key in the ignition, turned it on, put it in reverse, put his hand back. Yeah, so there's a couple steps.
He's got the backup camera.
Oh, shoot, yeah. So we can skip that. Good thing. You know what? Yeah. Save your back. Use a backup camera. And Tommy's in jail. You know you would do the same. Would you, JL? Would you do the same? You're an NFL player. You doing that?
Probably. I'm an NFL player. I got tons of money. What do I need to do throughout the day? I'll just drive.
No, I would not do the same, but not in the way you're thinking. It's not insulting.
It's not insulting. Don't be mad.
I'm not going back for the game. Like, I'm driving to Atlanta for the birth of my first child.
That's your money, though.
And then I'm staying there with my wife who just gave birth. I'm not getting back in the car to drive 5 more hours. And it's not like I'm such a sweet husband. It's my first child was just born. I just drove 5 hours. I'm being selfish and hanging out with my wife and
they're paying you tens of thousands of dollars to play that game.
Yeah, and they'll do it again next week.
But you know what I'm saying? And you're just cool with that. You're like, all right, screw that tens of thousands of dollars. I don't need it.
Yeah, I got my child and my wife, and that's what I'm.
I got my child and my wife.
What else do I need? And I just I'm not driving 5 hours back to go play in that game. Though, you know what? Maybe he's thinking the same thing after the results of that game last night. Maybe he's like, man, maybe I should have just stayed in Atlanta because that didn't go too well for them.
We got Adam in the chat said, morning, boys. Morning with the little coffee emoji.
Morning, what up, Adam?
Hey, we have Glory Sports in here saying, morning, Glory Sports. Welcome in. Glad to see you here. Simon Cam Akers spoke out yesterday. He said, I want to know the same thing. I don't know what happened. I never asked to not be part of the team. That's pretty inflammatory, huh?
Yeah, I think what's going on here is both parties want the same result, but they're stuck in their feelings and they're using
their heels
toxic language whenever they talk. Like it's not that Cam Akers is wrong. Know what I mean? He's saying, I didn't ask to be not part of the team, but did the Rams ever say yeah, well, we asked for you not to be? It seems like their response is going to be like, yeah, well, we never asked for you not to be part of the team either. Know what I mean? They're just throwing accusatory statements back and forth and back and forth. We need the Rams organization and Cam Akers to sit down for some couples therapy with a therapist and learn to properly communicate what they're feeling. Cam Akers say, hey guys, I don't feel valued and or appreciated on this team. I understand maybe that's not your intention, but it still has that impact on me. You know what? I bet that
Right.
would be way better received. And I'm not saying it's his responsibility, but dude, it's his job. And if he wants to be happy in it, maybe try to help mend those bridges.
You handled this just like my mom would have told me to handle this as a kid.
Me?
Well done, Simon. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out my mom. Shout out my mom, and
Shout
shout
out.
out
Shout out Mama
therapy.
Isabel.
Shout out
Shout out
therapy for teaching
therapy.
you how to communicate your emotions.
We got Will in here asking even if Zeke plays, should I play Pollard over Zeke this week? What do you think, Simon?
Tough one, especially with the injuries that Zeke's been dealing with. We're getting to that point where I think you can start considering Tony Pollard over Ezekiel Elliott. And this week, I probably would play Tony Pollard over Zeke.
This is from Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, when asked yesterday about it, he said he can definitely play more than 31 snaps. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was part of a different one. I think I can't find the. Oh, here we go. Tony Pollard expects running back Zeke Elliott to play. He was running and cut full speed in practice yesterday. So Tony Pollard's expecting Zeke to be back. I think you could still play either one of these guys. I think they're going to be flex RBs this week. So I'm fine playing either Zeke or Tony Pollard this week.
And I would rather play Pollard. I know we're seeing those reports, but they're both like startable and on similar tiers. Zeke was the one dealing with the injury, so I'm more comfortable starting Pollard this week. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see how they play this week. Maybe that's the switch for the rest of the season, but at least this week, I'm rolling Pollard out ahead of Zeke. I'm feeling pretty good about it. And guys, that's a good reminder for everyone. If you've got fantasy questions for us, throw them in the chat. We love answering fantasy questions and would love to answer yours. You can also, if you want to ask us directly, you can call in, hit that call in button on the Better Sports Network app, come up on air and ask us your questions live as well. And we will answer them with you on air.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we will. Before last night, JL, Falcons kicker Younghoe Koo had made 71 consecutive extra points, 71 straight, one of the best in the league. He missed 2 straight extra points in yesterday's game. Just nothing was working for the Falcons, even their automatic kicker.
It's just brutal, man. It's brutal. Remember when Younghoe Koo had his Jeep stolen and his cleats were in the car, and he put out a video and was like, "Please, just bring my cleats back."
I have no memory of that. Not a single memory.
You don't
How is
remember
that
that?
something that happened and I missed? When did that happen?
Last year, I think. Last off season, maybe.
Someone stole
It was
his
a while
Jeep?
ago. Someone stole his Jeep and his cleats were in his Jeep, and then he appeal to them on social media, like, "Please, keep the Jeep. Just bring back my cleats."
He was like, I can buy a new Jeep, but I've broken those in for years.
And that was my first thought whenever you said that story was, I wonder if he ever got his cleats back.
Let's ask him. Let's get Younghoe Koo on the air and ask him if he ever got his
Keep getting
cleats back.
Younghoe Koo.
Come on, Keith. I want some Younghoe Koo. We had a question in the chat from Glory Sports. He said, I really need a good top 10 running back. The people I have to trade are Kyler Murray, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, Joshua Palmer, and Jacoby Myers. Could we put together a package for a top 10 RB with those players?
Run the players back one more time.
Kyler Murray, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, DJ Moore, Joshua Palmer, and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I think you could maybe throw in a DJ Moore with somebody to get a running back 2. What do you think about that, Simon?
I don't know if you're going to be able to get that done. I don't think people are like chomping at the bit to add DJ Moore to their team. Know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe Deebo.
Deebo,
Would you be willing to move Deebo? Deebo
Yeah,
or DK?
I'd be willing to move Deebo or DK to get that running back.
Oh, yeah, top 10. You're definitely not getting top 10 for DJ Moore. For Deebo, DK, you might be able to get top 10.
In order to get top 10 for DJ Moore, you would have needed him to do something last night and not turn in a 4 reception for 29 yards and no touchdown performance.
Yes.
It's just like the perception was already pretty low on this team. It was rising a little bit on DJ Moore because of the Peach to Deej connection, but we didn't see that connection last night in the rain. So memory is short and people are going to be down on DJ Moore. So you're not going to be able to trade him.
Yeah. Peach is swinging in the wind.
DK Metcalf plus Deebo Samuel might be able to get it done, but you're really sacrificing your wide receiver core to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough using those players to get a top 10 running back. Will.
Yeah, and Adam in here saying, I started DJ Moore hoping for a shootout. Little did I know Mariota couldn't keep the game competitive for shit. Yeah. Yep, that game was disappointing. Mariota not putting it together. DJ Moore, I was really hoping would go off. I did have to start him in a few leagues. I was hoping for that PhD connection, but it did not get it.
So Glory Sports said I also have Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs. Okay. So you could package Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf, try to go get one of those top 10 running backs. I think that's the move. I think that's what you're going to have to do if you even have a chance of getting it done with the players that you listed here.
You think like a Deebo and a DJ Moore could get you like a Kenneth Walker?
Maybe. I think that's a great one to send. A Dameon Pierce. I think send it out for Dameon Pierce, Kenneth Walker.
I feel like you should be able to get those guys just for Deebo, but I don't know if you can.
Josh Jacobs is one that I'm targeting. I still think Josh Jacobs is a top 10 back. Especially with these guys going on IR, he's getting all the work. I think you could try one of those guys for Josh Jacobs. Try Deebo for Josh Jacobs or DK for Josh Jacobs, but I'm not opposed to doing both of them either. Yeah. Glory Sports said, what about ETN? Yeah, another name. I would try DK and Deebo for ETN. Would you do that, JL?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, those are great names, but I think you're going to have to try one of them. I think you're going to have to package both of them to get it done, though.
Yeah.
We'll see. We had another question come in here as well. Will said, what about Cook? Would you do it for Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin Cook's, yeah, I'll probably do it for Dalvin Cook. It's just, I don't know that I want to go trade for Dalvin Cook with some of the injury concerns. I'd rather have some of those other guys you mentioned.
Joey in here saying, good morning. Good morning, Joey. Said, you guys are the soundtrack
Joey.
to my 1.5 hour drive to my sales appointment. What should we make the soundtrack be? What could we say that would make it a really pleasant drive for Joey?
Leadle.
Buckle up for your safety, Joey.
The ride is about to begin.
Excuse me.
Tommy says, I think I can.
Who's saying that? Just Tommy? Or
Tommy, yeah, that's the soundtrack.
Oh, that's the soundtrack. I was like, what were we talking about? Were we talking about the little engine that could? And I just completely missed that portion of the conversation. Definitely possible.
Definitely possible.
Oh, and Joey says he's very aroused. Beautiful.
You're welcome. Go nail that sales call.
Guys, coming up, we are going to be answering your questions. If you've got questions for us, please throw them in the chat. We are more than happy to answer anything and all you've got to ask for week 10. We'll be playing some fantasy detectives with our friend Vinny Iyer a little bit later today as well. And we've got some hypothetically for you too. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So, no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey. And it's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So, I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, you know, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man.
Yeah.
So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. How you doing, Jay? I'll just checking in. It's been about 40 minutes. You still hanging in there?
Oh, I'm hanging in. How you doing?
Oh, I am hanging in.
Oh,
for
boy.
sure.
We hanging low right now.
It is warm in my house this morning.
Nice and cozy.
I turned the heat on, and that was a mistake. I'm in this awkward temperature range in like San Antonio right now. Where like during the day, I got to be pumping the AC. It's still getting up into the 80s a lot of days, but at night, sometimes it gets down to like, I'm going to sound like a baby here, but it gets down to like in the 50s at night, which like, let's be real, at nighttime, that gets a little bit chilly in the house. Like if without something on, it gets down to like 62, 63, 64 inside the house. And I'm shivering, but if I turn the heat on, even at like 65, I feel like I'm just like, I wake up and I've got to like peel my body apart from all of the sweat that's on it. It's just
disgusting.
I hate the heat. I hate having the heat on in my house.
You picked a bad state. Well, I guess to have the heat on in your house, it's a good state. Maryland's kind of been in a weird spot too, Simon. It's like some weekend, like the last weekend, it was 70s, and then it goes down to low 50s. So I've been switching between heat, cool, jacket, shorts, pants. It's all a big mess.
Leanne always makes fun of me because before I get in the shower, I go and I turn the heat on. That way, whenever I get out of the shower, it's nice and warm. And then I immediately run back over and turn the air conditioning back on right away.
It's just the shower heat?
It's just the shower heat so that whenever I get out, I'm not sad.
That's absurd.
It's a pro move, guys. It's always hard to get out of the shower whenever it's cold in your house. Go turn the heat on just for your shower and then turn it back off really quick because it's nice to be in the air conditioning. That's Tommy hilarious. In the chat going, wah! I assume he's doing a Waluigi impression and not mocking us. It's a me. That's not what Waluigi says. JL, what would WJL sound like?
Wow. It's the same as Waluigi.
Oh my god, it's exactly the same. That what made me think of that on that show. Make Some Noise that I'm obsessed with. JL, Brennan got a prompt that was like the diatribe, the monologue of Wa Brennan, the evil counterpart similar to Waluigi to Mario, and he like it was his worst nightmare having to do that one. We got some questions that came in the chat. JL, Lori Sports wants to know, do you think I should keep Marquise Brown when he comes back? Because DeAndre Hopkins is also back. So are you holding on to Marquise Brown for whenever he comes back from this injury?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely holding on. I was watching Hard Knocks yesterday, the Arizona in-season Hard Knocks, and you saw Marquise Brown there in the building, going along with them, studying. So I think he's going to be a big factor in this offense when he comes back. And DeAndre Hopkins just helps this entire offense. He's been opening it up. I think it makes them a much better team with Marquise Brown. I'd be holding.
In order to give the best advice possible on this, I'm going to make the sacrifice and go watch every episode of the in-season Hard Knocks for the Arizona Cardinals today after the show ends. I'm realizing I haven't watched any of it, and that was irresponsible. So I promise I will sit on the couch and watch every single episode of this show today so that I can answer this question properly. Shoot.
There's only a single one.
I'll watch it 10 times. I'm gonna watch it over
And
and
also,
over and
Marquise
over
Brown
again.
has like no major part of it. He's just in the background.
Jail. It's all about due diligence. I don't care if
That's-
he's just
that's
in the
fair,
background
that's
for
fair.
1 second. It adds to the analysis.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, but for real, you should hold on to Marquise Brown. He's a wildly talented player. He's got a connection with Kyler Murray. And we've seen it in the past. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury wants the ball going to DeAndre Hopkins 14, 15, 16, 17 times a game. You know what I mean? He's always been one to spread it out a little bit more. And I think he'll be excited to have Marquise Brown back.
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely.
Let's see who else we got in here. We got Adam in here saying, should I start Michael Pittman or Wan'Dale Robinson this week? Full PPR. Also, what is Pittman's new floor with all the changes in Indy? His new floor is very low. His new floor is in the basement, unfortunately. Sam Ehlinger has not looked fantastic. Should I start Pittman or Wan'Dale Robinson this week? Full PPR. Simon, do you have a strong feeling on this? Are you still going Pittman, or is Wan'Dale Robinson your new buddy here? Are you starting him over Pittman this week?
No. I think you still start Pittman. I'm excited about Wan'Dale Robinson, but it's still not for sure that he's the one in that offense, right? Like we're still waiting to see. Darius Slayton has been involved. Kenny Galladay coming back, though. I'll believe it when I see it with Kenny Galladay. It's more Darius Slayton that I'm a little bit worried about. Michael Pittman, he's still the one in that offense, even if it is a Jeff Saturday-led, Sam Ehlinger under center-led offense. Michael Pittman's still the one. He should still get the most targets on the team. Roll out Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I'm with you. Pittman for me as well.
No, it's not a bad matchup for Wan'Dale. They are going against the Texans, but that being said, it's not a bad matchup for the wide receivers, but it's even more of not a bad matchup for the running backs, right? Houston has been absolutely abysmal against the running back position this year, which means the New York Giants, they have a pretty good running back in Saquon Barkley. They're probably just going to run all over the Texans this weekend. Maybe they don't even need the passing game to get going that much. Start Michael Pittman.
Start Michael Pittman. I'm with you. Jeff Johnson in here saying, I had Patterson starting and Foreman on the bench. Brutal. Deonta Foreman came out 31 freaking carries for 130 yards and a touchdown, 22 fantasy points. Oh, man, that's frustrating. Cordell Patterson, 5 carries for 18 yards, no touchdowns, 3 points.
Oops.
Yeah, brutal.
That's brutal. They came in with a game plan, the Panthers did last night for Deonta Foreman. They came in with a game plan, and they said, this is what we're doing, and Deonta Foreman said, okay, I got you. We're going to make it happen. 130 yards on the ground. That's a pretty good game from him. And Chuba Hubbard was back. He was on the field some. Know what I mean? So if you had concerns
5 carries, 14 yards, no touchdowns for 4 fantasy points. That's disgusting. Why Chuba?
He gave just enough reason that I know some people started him. Know what I mean? Like I know some people were like, Jail's like, I'm some people.
I think I had to in a couple leagues because we talked about it yesterday, and Simon, I believe we were unanimous in our advice about sitting both these guys if you could.
Except for Joey. Joey was all in on starting Deonta Foreman throughout the shows yesterday. FYF Joey. He's in the chat over there as well.
He was pushing Foreman, but in terms of Chuba, but in at least one league I had to start him. I had to start. Oh my God! I just looked in one league, Simon. I started Chuba Hubbard and Cordell Patterson.
Yikes.
My running backs are non-existent. I have Kenyon Drake is my next. Kenyon Drake, Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, who are both in my flex. Oof, it's brutal. I should have started Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, maybe
who's on bye.
Drake.
He would have gotten less points.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have hurt as bad to start him over Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
It would have been the same result without feeling bad.
Right.
Joey said, I don't like victory lapping, but I'll allow others to do it for me. Yeah, Joey didn't back down. There was a lot of like, maybe not, maybe BFE. Chuba Hubbard's back, and Joey was all in on starting Foreman last night, and Foreman absolutely killed it. Also getting involved in the rushing game, JL. Laviska Shenault Jr. had that touchdown, the 41-yard touchdown in that game. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, shoot, Jay is jumping out of his pants right now. Like, I know he was just screaming through the roof whenever Laviska ran that in.
Yeah, I was, as soon as I heard Laviska's name, I was like, oh, Jay's going to be so mad. This is all he's going to talk about tomorrow.
I didn't know who it was at first. Like, I looked away for a second, walked in, all of a sudden I see someone streaking down the sideline. I was like, that doesn't look like Deonta Foreman. That doesn't that doesn't look like Chuba Hubbard. Like who is that? And then they were like, Laviska Shenault. And I was like, no way did they just get him involved to get that touchdown going his direction.
3 receptions on 4 targets, 17 yards, 14.9 points.
2 carries, 42 yards.
Yeah. The carries, I guess, is the more important part. It's 2 carries, 42 yards, touchdown. Pretty good. Pretty good for Laviska Shenault.
Yeah, and Raheem Blackshear got more work than Chuba Hubbard did. The undrafted free agent rookie that they signed. 6 carries for 32 yards. He looked better than Chuba Hubbard out there as well. This is Deonta Foreman's backfield for the rest of the season in my eyes. He is a lead back. They're going to work in these other guys, 5-6 carries, but it looks like they may be able to rely on the run. They've been having quarterback issues. PJ Walker, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. Like, it hasn't been solid at the QB position for them. I think Deonta Foreman's an every week start. This is 2 out of the last 3 weeks. It's going to be – he's had great performances. In the 1 week he didn't, they were down 35-0 at halftime against the Bengals, right? Like, that is not a running back-friendly game script. Now, don't get me wrong. The Panthers could find themselves in situations like that again. Not every team is as bad of a tackling team as the Atlanta Falcons are. So it's not going to be this good. But if he's getting this volume and they want to commit to the run, he's a starter.
Yeah. I'm with you, Simon. I'm with you. I'm starting Deonta Foreman. 31 carries. My God. No one else got more than 6. No one else got more than 6 on this team. So I'm with you. Starting your Deonta Foreman's going forward. And Kyle Pitts, he only got 8 targets, 2 receptions, 28 yards, no touchdowns. What is the deal with Kyle Pitts, Simon?
What's the deal with Kyle Pitts?
I
don't know. He's just the Pitts, man. It's just the Pitts.
It's the Pitts.
It's
bro.
the Pitts.
John Gruden's Pitts. Kyle's Pitts.
Kyle's Pitts.
Kyle's Pitts.
Pitts, baby. No, but to answer your question without just being a jackass saying his name over and over again,
Pitts.
This team is terrible, and Marcus Mariota's playing like garbage. He got 8 targets. That should be enough to do something with. But Marcus Mariota looked like hot doo-doo out there on the field yesterday chucking the ball. Some of the throws he was making, I was just shocked. He seems rattled or something. Maybe he's scared of losing his job, getting in his head, trying to force the ball downfield, but he does not look good, and it's affecting Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
He got 8 targets. He got 8 targets. Know what I mean? And Kyle Pitts is good. We know Kyle Pitts is good at football.
Right. Are you dropping Kyle Pitts? Or 8 targets is a decent amount.
No, you can't drop him. That's the worst. He's getting the volume. He's getting the volume we want over the past couple of weeks. He's been targeted more than he was over the beginning of the season. Probably because Arthur Smith realizes he needs to get his best players the ball. And Kyle Pitts, Drake London, those are probably your best players on the field. But it's not turning into anything. I just feel like you can't drop them. What are you going to pick up that you're happier with than 8 targets, even if it is bad? It's just not the top tier game breaking tight end that maybe you were hoping for. Do you think you can drop them? I wouldn't fight someone if they dropped them. Know what I mean? I'm not that adamant on it. I just feel like I can't.
No, it feels like a trap. I'm not dropping him either. That many targets is promising, and he's just going to be a disappointment this year. I think he's going to be in that really annoying spot where he is getting enough volume and opportunity to make it annoying to drop him, but he's not quite ever getting enough points to make it worth it. So I'd be fine dropping him if you want to, but I would be holding him unless you have an option that is more opportunity or turning less opportunity into more fantasy points consistently, like Dulcich.
You said that just to get me a little bit excited, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Like an example. Oh, got me flustered again.
Just tease you a little bit.
Wait till the break, JL.
Never.
We had another question in here. Well, we talked a lot about Foreman, but Jeff also wanted to know how he felt about Patterson going forward. So, John Luke, Patterson, not even getting the most carries on this team for the Falcons yesterday. He had 5 carries. Tyler Algier had 8. Caleb Huntley also had 5. And Avery Williams with 4 carries, but did a little bit more with it. What are you doing with Cordero Patterson rest of the season? How are you categorizing him?
Yeah, I'm categorizing him into somewhere between what he's been and where he is now. He's got maybe just giving you a little insight into my reasoning here. Cordero Patterson, I think, Simon, you might have brought it up yesterday, how it didn't seem like he was going to maybe get the same amount of work that he got the week that he came back off this injury and got the touchdowns. we might have with Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley, they might work these guys in more and more. Now, this is a weird game. Falcons were down. I could see Cordero. I think Cordero Patterson is going to be better than this going forward, but I also don't think we're going to get what we got in the beginning of the season, which was 3 touchdowns a game. It might be a little bit more boom bust.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to get the volume necessary to make him a consistent weekly start. This looks like a full-on timeshare. Like last week, I thought, okay, maybe the carries were split this way because it was his first game back off IR. They're easing him in. But no, we saw more of it this week. We saw Avery Williams almost just as involved. We saw Caleb Huntley just as involved, and Tyler Algier more involved than Cordero Patterson. It's concerning. If he doesn't get a touchdown, I don't think you're happy with his fantasy output on a week-to-week basis. Dude wasn't even that involved in the receiving game either. 1 target, 1 reception, 2 yards, right? Like with Cordero Patterson, usually you're hoping, okay, like maybe he's not getting all the carries, but he's helping you out in the receiving game. It was a hurricane, but we didn't see any of that yesterday. We saw 8 targets for Kyle Pitts, even if they were bad targets. We just saw 1 for CP.
I could see this leaving a bad taste in a lot of fantasy managers' mouth, right? Like he comes off this massive week that, me along with a lot of other people ended up benching him last week, and then he comes in this week and we're like, all right, let's throw him in the lineup, and he leaves a little doo-doo right there in that RB spot for you on your roster. I think this could make a lot of people feel burned.
Absolutely. And shout out to Jay, who's going to be joining us here in a little bit. He did say, like, he got the 2 touchdowns, but look at everything else in that game last week. Take the touchdowns away. Are you happy? Is there anything about that shows like good fantasy performance so that it's promising going forward? He was like, no. He's like, I'm nervous that this is going to be a timeshare. And you know what? It looks like he was right. Maybe it isn't Patterson's.
Maybe it was Jay, not you, that I'm remembering.
Yeah, I think it was Jay. You were giving me some credit, but I was in the they're easing him back in camp, and he's going to be ready to go. I fully believed that just based on what we saw from CP at the beginning of the season. Like,
what is it about you, Simon, that makes everyone think that all the good things were your idea?
It's because of my willingness to take accountability when I'm wrong. That you don't feel the need.
That was a mustache.
You don't feel the need to tell me that I'm wrong because I'll do it myself. I'll come out here and I'll say, "Yep, I'm an idiot," or it's the mustache.
Or the mustache. Could be either one, 50-50.
I tried. I need some help. If you can tell JL, if anyone's got tips on like how to get these hairs off my freaking lip, like I can't figure it out.
Scissors.
I tried and I was like, oh, I got it. And then I would look. Nope, I didn't get it. I swear hairs are coming off. I think I'm just chopping off random hairs.
Is that what that is right here? Is this a little accidental clip?
Well, I got the other sides of it, but I couldn't get that part.
That's so funny.
The part dipping down over my lip, I couldn't quite get to it. I don't know what was going on, but no matter how many cuts I made, I don't know, man, but it's driving me crazy. Every time I put chapstick on, I'm like super gluing my mustache hairs to my lips. Like it like plasters the mustache hair to the lip where it's like pulling on it, where I can like feel the pull from the chapstick, just like holding it like glue to my upper lip.
Gross.
Tommy said you need a buzzer. I don't know what for, but yeah, you're probably right. Just to buzz each other. Like, that's enough.
Buzz.
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 We got to get like a bonk soundboard just for us. So in the middle of anything, we can just bonk each other.
Right.
Glory Sports in here said, well, I'm going to go now. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with us, Glory Sports.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Tommy said I meant for your mustache, not a game show buzzer. He meant like a zzz.
You didn't realize. I thought you were making a joke.
Oh, no, I completely did not. JL, I'm tired, man. And my mind automatically, if I can relate it to a game show, I'm going to relate it to a game show. I lived on GSN for the first 10 years of my life.
We are a game show family here at FYF.
Welcome to the game show family here at Front Yard Fantasy. Favorite game show, JL?
Oh, no. Whose line is it anyway?
Okay. That's a game show. Not what I was thinking, but I will count it. I will count it. Mine's Game Changer. But if we're going like classic game shows, it's got to be Jeopardy. Like I know it's like the boring answer or whatever, but there's a reason it's like been so long running and so successful. And that's because it's a bomb ass show.
This is a pretty good game. Pretty good game. Tom said, let's make a deal. That's a good one, too. That's a good one. Adam has said, thoughts on Kittle rest of the season, hold or trade? What are you doing with George Kittle?
Hold.
Old.
He's one of the
Big
few tight ends that is a difference maker at the position. We're talking Travis Kelce and George Kittle and Mark Andrews, but Mark Andrews has been injured and now he's on bye. So like those are the three guys though, right? It's George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. I'm holding on to those guys unless you are getting a king's ransom for one of those tight ends. They're the only true like week in, week out difference makers at the position.
Yeah, I'm with you, Simon. Holding.
And Maria in here saying, I'm also going to go. Love you, gentlemen. Love you too,
Maria. Enjoy your kindergarten day.
Yeah. Guys, coming up, we are going to have our friend GManJay on for the rest of the show, continuing to answer your questions and going through some DFS builds for this weekend slate. We'll be playing some fantasy detectives a little bit later today as well. And we got some hypothetically for you too. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Green Screens Media back at it again with your BSN timeout. And today we're putting some teams on upset alert. With me, as always, the captain of our ship at Green Screens Media, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, let's take a look at this first week college basketball schedule and let's find some upsets.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at Friday afternoon. The Barstool Sports Invitational in Philadelphia is going to pit the Toledo Rockets and the UAB Blazers against each other. This is a matchup of two of the top mid-major teams in the country. Coach Kowalczyk and Toledo are back-to-back regular season MAC champions. They have a dangerous front court. JT Shoemate and Cedric Milner both shot over 40% from three last year. Lead guard Ray J. Dennis is back, 23 points, 4 assists in their opening night win against Valparaiso, and looks primed for a breakout year. Toledo's going to have to find a way to contain mid-major star Jordan Jelly Walker, who dropped 38 in his first game, but I believe the Rockets are deep enough to get it done.
Yeah, Coach Kowalczyk has these Rockets balling, so don't mind that at all. I'm going to go over to Wright State facing off against Louisville. Look, with Wright State, it all starts with Trey Calvin. This is a kid that hit that game winner to punch their ticket to the big dance, and last year averaged nearly 15 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, will once again be the focal point for this offensive attack. On the other side of the coin, look, Louisville is a program in transition, right? Brand new head coach, Kenny Payne, is going to have to rebuild this thing brick by brick, and it showed in their exhibition schedule, right? They dropped a game to Lenore Rhine. They barely squeaked by against Chaminade. And the way that Wright State likes to attack, they like to play fast, like to spread the floor, like to shoot a lot of threes. That is absolutely a formula to pull the upset against the Louisville squad that has a ton of question marks right now.
Hey, I don't mind that call, but let's slide back over to Friday and let's look at the Liberty Flames headed to Alabama to take on the Crimson Tide. Liberty star point guard Darius McGee is capable of scoring 30-plus any night. He was the highest usage rate player in the country last season and scored 27 points in their opening game. He has a very experienced front court around him, and Kyle Rhodey and Shiloh Robinson, they're going to be taking on a very young Alabama team. This Crimson Tide shot a woeful 3 for 28 from 3 in their opening game against Longwood. That's not going to get it done on a nightly basis. If Alabama can't get it going early, the Flames are exactly the type of team that can take advantage.
Yeah, Darius McGee is going to give a lot of teams fits this year. That will do it for your BSN timeout. Make sure you stay locked here on the Better Sports Network. Check out Green Screens Media on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Joining us now, and for the rest of the show, we've got our friend and Front Yard fan member, GManJay. What's up, Jay?
What's going on, guys? Actually, before I hopped on, I was reading up on some of the election news. Did you guys hear the big news?
No.
Guy Fieri was reelected as the mayor of Flavortown. So that's
Fieri.
really exciting.
Guy Fieri reelected mayor of Flavortown?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was close, but the results finally came through. He was reelected.
Who did he win to?
It was actually
Dr. Oz was also running for Flavortown.
Wow, he put his hand in multiple pots, huh?
Yeah, he was
0 for 2 with Dr. Oz.
Tough week for that guy.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, you know what? If the Senate thing doesn't work out, at least I can be mayor of Flavortown. And Guy Fieri said, "Not so fast." That's not what he says. Who says "not so fast"?
I have no idea. I don't watch those shows.
No clue.
God, someone.
All
says
I know,
"not so
I only
fast"
know,
like that.
I only know a little bit of Guy Fieri joke, and that's it.
Bam. Who says Bam?
Emerald.
That's Emerald. That one's easy. Emerald de Blasi.
Perfect. Emerald Degrassi.
Yeah.
Emerald Degrassi.
That's Drake's father. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah.
Emerald Degrassi, Drake's father, incredible.
Yeah.
Tommy in here saying, hey, good morning to Jay.
Good morning.
Hey.
He doesn't get a rhyme back? Do a rhyme with Tommy, Jay.
Good morning, Tommy. Keep it fammy.
Keep it fammy. You heard it, Tommy. Keep it fammy all day. Joey in here saying, get off the show. Boo! No, we keep Jay on here. We like Jay here on the show. And Adam saying, what up, Jay? You're getting all sorts of what-ups in the chat. Guys, we're going to talk through some DFS strategy for this week, maybe build a core lineup and talk about some other plays that we like. Before we do that, though, we got a question in here from Adam in the chat that I wanted to hit up. Adam said, I have Justin Fields as my starter and ended up picking up Deshaun Watson to replace him if needed weeks 14, 15, 16. Can Watson have enough of the rust knocked off then to be fantasy worthy? So we've talked about Justin Fields' tough playoff schedule, and the Browns have a perfectly average playoff schedule. Like there's some tougher matchups, some weaker matchups, but none strong either way. John Luke, do you think Deshaun Watson is worth holding on to as the Justin Fields manager to start during those weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I would rather start him. I'd rather start Deshaun Watson over Justin Fields during that rough playoff run. It looks very tough for Justin Fields.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I think that's the play. If you can somehow wind up rostering both, for the potential that Justin Fields is able to elevate his play and play through the tough matchup. But, those are two guys that one QB I wouldn't necessarily – was it one QB? Is that what they said? Or did that specify?
I believe it's just one quarterback.
Okay. I wouldn't normally recommend keeping two quarterbacks, but those two in particular, one, you can keep them off of somebody else's roster in case they do go off. And two, you're hedging your bets. If Deshaun Watson is a little rusty, you still have the potential of Justin Fields stepping up his play.
Makes sense. Bronson in here had another question for us. He said, trade Alvin Kamara for Ramondre Stevenson and DeAndre Hopkins or A.J. Brown.
Alvin Kamara for Ramondre Stevenson or A.J. Brown?
No. For Ramondre Stevenson and DeAndre Hopkins or A.J. Brown. So one of those two wide receivers plus Ramondre for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would target A.J. Brown. I love D-Hop, but A.J. Brown is on another level this year.
Either one of them for Kamara?
Oh, yeah. I would take absolutely.
Honestly, I think Kamara for A.J. Brown is probably a fairly fair trade. And if you can get a free starting running back like in Ramondre Stevenson, a stud thrown in there as well, Bronson, you got to smash accept that. Your lineup is better with Ramondre plus A.J. Brown in it than Kamara plus whoever your worst wide receiver is, I'm imagining. I can't imagine your worst wide receiver in your starting lineup is that close to A.J. Brown.
Yeah, go make that trade, Bronson.
Do it.
Right now.
Do it,
Pause
Bronson.
the video. Go do it, then come back and press play.
You guys want to throw together a lineup for the main slate for this weekend together?
Let's do it.
I got FanDuel pulled up over here. I'm not going to be able to share it with you guys, but I'll verbally share it with you guys. So I wanted to put together a lineup. We can enter it into some contests, see how we perform this weekend. I'll start us off with some names or some games that I think I'm targeting here. I'm looking for games that are expected to be high scoring, and there's a couple that stand out. That Jacksonville Jaguars Kansas City Chiefs game is one of them. But the one I'm kind of leaning towards is that Cleveland Browns Miami Dolphins game. 49
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Under. You like that game for DFS this week, Jay?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those that you can get some cheap options on the Cleveland side. I don't do a ton of DFS, but what I have learned from our good friend Jordan Vanek is you want to be able to stack the same game and get some cheap options that other people might not have. So, if you're taking your shot in a GPP, I like the idea of pairing Jacoby Brissett with Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's been putting on pretty heavy lately, and this is expected to be a shootout. So you do that. You pair him with somebody that's expensive along the lines of like Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. And if it does turn into a shootout, you put yourself in a pretty good position.
Oof. Part of me is tempted to spend up on the Tua Waddle stack or the Tua Hill stack.
Yeah.
It's going to be expensive, but part of me wants to just build around that and go cheap elsewhere because I feel like Tua is going to tear up the Browns. They're an average defense, both against quarterbacks and wide receivers. And I think it's been worse recently than it has been over the beginning of the season. They've been getting beat through the air. I could see Tua just absolutely tearing it up this week. But Jay, I don't mind maybe the contrarian Jacoby Brissett DPJ play. I do not mind that, especially DPJ. He's been a lot more
Right.
involved recently.
Absolutely.
49.5 is the total set by Vegas on this game. It's high score. High score. It isn't the highest scoring, though, which is Jacksonville Jaguars at Kansas City Chiefs. And I think I want to have some part of that game in here. I might be tempted by the Patrick Mahomes, maybe Juju stack or Mecole Hardman stack. You guys any interest in that?
With
I like
Mecole missing practice this week, didn't Mecole miss
That's
multiple
true.
practices
I think
this
you're
week?
right. I think you're right about that. Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to plug him in.
So not
there.
Mecole, maybe Juju.
Maybe Juju, or maybe Travis Kelce.
What about the dart
Travis
throw
Kelce,
Kadarius Toney? If you're trying to differentiate.
I mean, there's no reason you couldn't have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Kadarius Toney in there, right? Like you could throw all three of those guys in there.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I
Why not?
don't know that I trust Kadarius Toney that much. And if I'm already stacking with the other two, I probably want to go somewhere else.
If you try to differentiate in, a big tournament, maybe, but if it's more of a cash game, then yeah, it's not the safe play.
I like having, like, in a game that's expected to be a shootout, I don't mind having multiple of the receiving options on the same team. We see those rosters pull out the big W all the time in the Millie Maker contests, where they just target a single game. They get multiple pieces on each side of the ball and they make it work. Let's make a decision. Do we want to roll with the Patrick Mahomes stack? Is going to be expensive. Patrick Mahomes is 8,500. Travis Kelce is also 8,500. Tua's at 8,100, so a little bit cheaper, but not much. And Jalen Waddle at 8,200, Tyreek Hill at 9,000. So that's also going to be an expensive stack. Jacoby Brissett, the other one that we brought up. Where is Jacoby Brissett?
7,000.
Keep scrolling. He's down.
No, he's 7,000 on FanDuel.
Yep, 7,000. I mean, that's fairly low whenever we're looking at this compared to the other quarterbacks. And then DPJ, the people that we've talked about, he's sitting at 5,700, and it's a good matchup for him. You know what? Hey, what do you think? Of those three, which route do you want to go?
I know I said the Jacoby Brissett, but man, I said let's pay up and let's go with the Mahomes Kelce stack.
Jail, you want to build a lineup around a Mahomes Kelce stack? It's an expensive pay up. Let's do it. I'm going to throw Patrick Mahomes in there, and then I'm going to throw Mr. Travis Kelce, both 8,500.
Yee.
So we have an average of 6,143 left remaining per player. Now, my immediate thought whenever we throw these two guys in there is I want something on the other side if this is going to be a shootout. And the player that jumps out to me is Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk in that Jacksonville Jaguars offense, I think maybe he won't be the most rostered. This Kansas City team isn't great against the pass. I think Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk are going to be on one this weekend. Do you guys like that play, or would you be looking elsewhere?
I like that play. I'm a little enticed by ETN. I think that he's 8,000, so he's a bit more of a pay up than Christian Kirk. If we're going to go players in this game, but he's been getting used a ton. And if this is a high scoring game, they might have to rely a lot on the passing game with the running backs. But I like Christian Kirk this week. I'm fine going either one of those guys.
Both? I do not mind putting both in. Jay, how do you feel about these Jacksonville Jaguars?
Going heavy on this game, though.
The name that
Jay, to that point, before you jump in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
Nope, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment on what JL said about going heavy on this game. I actually like that in big tournaments because what you're doing is you just have to get one narrative right. Know what I mean? Like if you get the narrative of this game right, then it's more likely that all of your pieces hit. So like, yeah, we're going heavy on this game. If it doesn't go the way we think, this roster is going to crash and burn. But instead of depending on a bunch of individual things to happen to have the best lineup out of thousands of people this weekend, we just need this game to go well and then to hit on a couple small pieces outside of it, right? It kind of consolidates the things that you need to go right. So in a GPP and a big tournament, I like going that way.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a good distinction, Simon.
Sorry, Jay, didn't mean to cut you off. How do you feel about these guys?
No worries whatsoever. So I like the Kirk call. I like the ETN call, but the name that stuck out to me was Evan Ingram. If we're going to try to save some money, it's only 4,900, and the Chiefs have given up plenty of points to opposing tight ends, but he is limited in practice. So it obviously rely on him playing this week, which it sounds like he's going to, but if we were looking to save some money and still be involved in this game, Ingram could be an option as well.
We already have Kelsey's the only thing. So I don't know that I want to go Ingram. in the flex spot. I think I'd rather have a non-tight end in the flex spot if we already have a tight end filled. Personally.
I remember my sophomore year of college sitting in the back of electromagnetics with this other kid that also failed that class 3 times. And we were talking about DFS in the back, and I was pretty new to it. Like, I'd never really played before. And he was like, bro, I got the secret strategy. He's like, always start a second tight end in your flex because they're cheaper than the position players. And if they hit, you're good. And that guy lost all his money. He was depositing another 100 every single week. But like for a while I was like, yeah, this dude knows what he's talking about. Always start that second tight end. And then at the end of the season, we like compared our bankrolls, like what we pulled in, and dude was at like negative 850 for the season. Did not go well. And we sat next to each other in electromagnetics the next semester, and he was $850 poor. But that's what always jumps to my mind. I think it can work, but with Evan Ingram being injured and us already having a starting tight end in Travis Kelce, I think I'd want to avoid that. But Jay, I like the call up. If he is playing, I think you can start him in your fantasy lineups this week. If he is playing, it's a decent enough matchup.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want us to get a piece in this Miami Cleveland game. I'd rather, instead of going ETN and Kirk, let's pick one of them and then let's go like Jalen Waddle, Hill, or.
Well, Joe, we have 3 wide receiver spots, 2 running back spots, and a flex spot left. You know what I mean? Like there are plenty of, like, even if we start Kirk and ETN, we've got room for plenty of pieces from that game, I think. But you're right. Maybe we start with the more expensive options. Like if we want, I don't think we can spend up $9,000 for Tyreek Hill with us having Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes in here. I just don't think we can do it. It's going to be even tough with Jalen Waddle, but I think we could potentially make it work. We might have to get real.
What if we do Waddle and Kirk together?
We could throw, I'm comfy with that. If we put Waddle in there, then if we put Christian Kirk in there, we got 6,800 for Kirk, 8,200 for Jalen Waddle. That brings us down to an average of 5,600 for the remaining players. We might have to get cute at running back. We might have to get a little bit cute at the running back position if we're doing this.
Yeah.
Maybe this is our sign. In tournaments, you got to take shots. Maybe we pick up one of the secondary running backs in this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Know what I mean? Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is probably going to be priced fairly high. Maybe we look at an Isaiah Pacheco or a Jerick McKinnon and think the Chiefs get up. They're favored by 9.5 points in what's expected to be like a high-scoring game. Maybe they go to one of their backup backs or their secondary backs in this game, and we can spend a little less since we spent up so high at these other positions.
CEH and Pacheco are actually both 6,200.
Okay.
So let me take a look and see what McKinnon's 50.
FanDuel does this. Well, I guess always they do this where if there's uncertainty, they just make them all the same player, same amount.
And Jerick McKinnon's down at 5,500. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pacheco at 6,200, like you said.
What do you think about Jaylen Warren at 5,300? He's expected to get a little more run this week. You know, we're basically hoping that he gets a touchdown, but it's a little cheaper on the running back scale.
Ooh, that is enticing. All the news coming out is that he potentially could take over as the starter, right? It's been nothing but positives for Jaylen Warren, nothing but negatives for Najee, but I'm not sure I'm buying it.
I'm not buying it.
Tommy has a great suggestion. Says throw Hollins or Cole, cheap wide receiver. They have to throw to someone in LV.
Yes.
With Renfro and Waller on IR. I don't mind throwing Matt
Hollins. I love the Hollins call. Yep. Great
Hollins
call.
What does Hollins cost?
Before we get fully into Hollins here, I didn't want to bring I was going to bring it up this morning at BYOB, but Josh Roundtree on Twitter said Jaylen Warren was asked if his reps changed this week. He said, nah, same reps. We get the same amount of reps. Obviously, Najee's the main guy. I'm here to compliment him. Whenever he needs a blow, that's when I go in. It's from 93.7 The Fan. So, yeah, Jaylen Warren could be interesting, but I don't think he's going to replace Najee.
Let's avoid it. Matt Collins down at 5,500. I think that's a great play for us. It saves us some money. Yep. It's that third wide receiver to pair with Waddle and Kirk. Jay, you cool with adding Hollins to this roster?
Let's do it.
We got our wide receivers filled out now. We need 2 running backs, a flex, and a defense. We'll fill that defense last. Just make sure we got enough money left to throw someone in there.
DPJ still in this 5,700. He could be a decent flex there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally cool with Donovan, and he's at 5,700, like you said, JL. Good matchup. In another game, we expect to be a shootout on the other side from Jalen Waddle in that one. So now we just got our 2 running backs.
How much money average do we have left?
5,600, but we can go a little bit higher than that because our defense, I imagine we're probably going to spend a little, like the max you can spend on a defense is 5,000, and we can get cheap. We can find a matchup that we like down at the bottom for the defenses.
I like Khalil Herbert at 5,800 going against the Lions. I could see him having a big game against a team that struggles against the run.
Yeah, I like that too.
And that game should be fun, right? The Detroit Lions Chicago Bears game. It should be a relatively high scoring game. What's the over under on that game? 48.5. Yeah. So Vegas agrees with us. A little bit above that average, sitting there at 48.5. I do not mind it, Jay. I don't mind that one at all. That's a player to
something to keep in mind while we're trying to build the cheap running backs.
What's David Montgomery at, and what's Khalil Herbert at? What's the difference between the salaries? Looks like David Montgomery 67. And what's
58?
That's a decent amount more. As I say, it'd be nice to get David Montgomery, but I'd be okay going Khalil.
How do you guys feel about, like, we were talking about this Browns Cleveland game or this Browns Dolphins game? Jeff Wilson's sitting at only 6,500 after looking like maybe, I know, Jay, you were high on Jeff Wilson. He seemed like he got some of the lead back role last week. I think this could be a bit of a messy backfield, but I know the sentiment is that Jeff Wilson may be taking over as the starting running back here. And that's a reasonable price against a defense that's a pretty good matchup for him. They're one of the worst in the league against the running back position.
I like it.
I like it too.
A lot.
I think we throw Jeff Wilson in there. And then I don't mind Khalil Herbert.
JL was high on Jeff Wilson as well. I want to make sure he gets his due.
Thanks. Devin Singletary, 5,600 against Minnesota. It's a tougher matchup, but we talked about Devin Singletary a little bit earlier.
I'm in. JL, I'm on Devin Singletary because
I'm
with Josh Allen banged up, one of two things is going to happen. Case Keenum's going to get the start. Case Keenum's not being the primary ball carrier inside the 10. Or Josh Allen's going to get the start with a banged up arm, and they're going to try to keep his arm safe by not having him be the primary back inside the 10. And Joey let us know yesterday, Devin Singletary, after Josh Allen, does lead them in inside the 10 carries. I know people are looking at James Cook as potentially being that guy, but Singletary's still been the one they go to, and it's not Josh Allen.
Great
I think we see Singletary find the end zone. Great call, JL. Okay, that leaves us with a decent chunk left for our defense. We've got 4,700 left for our defense. The top defense is available. The Broncos going up against the Titans. We've got the Bills going up against Minnesota. Tennessee going up against Denver. Kansas City against Jacksonville. The Giants against Houston. The Rams against Arizona. Any of those defenses jump off the page at you?
The Broncos is the one that stick out to me. You know, even whether it's Ryan Tannehill, whether it's Malik Willis, is 4,700. At the outside of Derrick Henry, this Tennessee offense has struggled, and the one strong thing has been their defense. They played really well this year, so that's the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Buffalo at Minnesota could be interesting.
Tommy in here with a suggestion said take the Raiders versus Saturday. So versus this Colts team and upgrade at another position. So take some of that extra money from adding the Raiders. And you guys just want to see what that would look like if we threw
Raiders are 4,800.
Oh, so they're even more expensive than the ones we're talking about. So nice.
They're the number 2 most expensive defense this week.
Wow.
Makes sense.
So yeah, Vegas knows what's happening here with Saturday. They're not
They're not caught off guard.
No.
Wow, that's surprising. I mean, the Raiders defense has not been good this year. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to try that though, and just another defense, maybe a cheaper defense, and see what a team looks like? Is there any that stick out to you guys?
I go down low on this list, and there's none that I'm like confident in. Maybe if we knew Josh Allen wasn't playing, I think maybe we could get like a little cute and throw the Vikings in there, but I still think the Bills offense is going to be good.
What about the Steelers with getting TJ Watt back? I mean, Andy Dalton's under center. He's always good for a couple interceptions. That could save us.
That'd be interesting.
Upgrade another position a little bit. I'm fine with that. I'm also fine going with the Broncos. I think this Broncos against the Titans matchup is a pretty good one for them, and their defense has been solid.
Yeah.
Dale,
you guys make the call.
What do you think? What are we doing here?
Let's roll with the Broncos.
We're rolling with the Broncos.
Let's go.
Let's ride.
Let's freaking ride. Did you guys see somebody asked Geno Smith if he was doing high knees on the airplane? Did you see that? Someone asked, like a reporter asked him, and he said, I feel like you're trying to do something here. And then said he saved him for the field. saved him for the field was his official answer. But he like looked at the guy and was like, you're trying to do something here. Stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen.
JL, was that a Bronco or was that your car trying to start? And
that was a Let's Ride. That was like a motorcycle sound.
It was a Ford Bronco.
Ford Bronco, yeah.
You guys see the new Broncos driving around?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Steve just bought one. My buddy Steve that came to Canton with us.
They're very cool. I just don't think they should be called a Bronco. Like I like them as vehicles. I just think it should be a different thing because it's not a Bronco. Know what I mean? Like it's just not the same vehicle. Like you could have just had a different new cool vehicle Ford, but now like you're sullying the name of the Bronco that you had out there.
They've done that a lot. Like the Escape is now like a crossover when it's been more of a SUV. Looks like a completely different vehicle. There's a lot of those. So I feel you.
Just the worst. Guys, we finished our lineup. I'm going to run through it with everyone. At quarterback, we spent up. We got Patrick Mahomes, and we paired him with Travis Kelce at the tight end position, also spending up $8,500 for each of those guys. From that same game, though, we added Christian Kirk on the other side of the ball, Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver for $6,800. We also targeted that Cleveland-Miami game, getting two pieces from the Miami side. Jeff Wilson Jr. at running back, $6,500. And Jalen Waddle at receiver for $8,200. And then we added Donovan Peoples-Jones on the Cleveland side of that game for $5,700, saving a little bit of money for a guy that's been pretty heavily targeted over the last couple of weeks and has a great matchup. The other pieces that we added in here to fill out this roster, Devin Singletary with a banged-up Josh Allen going up against the Minnesota Vikings, $5,600. Mac Hollins with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on the IR for $5,500. And then the Denver Broncos defense to wrap it all up. I'm feeling pretty good about this lineup, guys.
I like it. I might throw in some tournaments. See, I like what we did.
I like what we did too. Craig in the chat. What's up, Craig? Good morning. He said you can't play Devin with any other Bills player. He's a Singletary player.
Also,
Also,
say good morning to Albert.
I don't think we said good morning to Albert.
Good morning, Albert.
What up, Albert? Welcome in. Also, George in here saying you guys were deaf right about Foreman last night. However, I don't know if Pitts is a unicorn at this point, even though he had 8 targets.
It's a damn shame.
He's a Pegasus.
Shame.
He's lost his horn.
Did you guys see what Mauricio on our fantasy football office hours? Mauricio Gutierrez of NFL Mexico and NFL Fantasy Mexico was on with us for office hours yesterday. And we started talking Kyle Pitts, and he turns around, grabs something off of his shelf and holds it in front of the camera. And it's a unicorn like skeleton. And like, he was like, this is Kyle Pitts. And I was like, a unicorn? And he was like, the skeleton of a unicorn. And then he just looked into and like, I lost it. It was a beautiful use of props.
I could see Mauricio saying that too. I'll have to go back and check that out.
That's hilarious.
Prop comedy, underrated.
Underrated for sure.
Underrated for sure. Guys, coming up, we are going to have our friend Vinny Iyer join the show to play some fantasy detectives. And then we've got some hypothetically for you a little bit later today as well. And as always, we're going to be answering all of the questions that you guys have for us. So keep throwing them in the chat or hit that call-in button to come up on air and ask us any of your fantasy questions. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Better Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry. Okay, talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
how I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball story, I'm going to bring up.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at like Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not gonna start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with
It's
us.
one thing. Okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right?
Yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play. What? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are the blanket on the lap squad. Jail, your blanket's better than mine.
Clemson, baby.
Clemson, baby. You know what?
I don't have a blanket.
But mine has hedgehogs on it, and I got it for Christmas from
pretty
my
cool.
cousin.
Is that Watson?
No, it is not Watson. This is just a blue hedgehog and a gray hedgehog. Man,
I got to give it to the hedgehog. I'm sorry. The Clemson blanket's nice, but when the option's a hedgehog, you have to go.
That's
my
fair.
girlfriend and I have an ongoing debate. She wants a hedgehog so bad, but I am anti getting a hedgehog after having mine.
You're anti-hedgehog?
Well, the thing is, I loved having my hedgehog. They have so much personality. Like, it's not like a hamster where like
they're just like, oh,
yeah, where it's just like, here's your hamster. You know what I mean? Like Watson had favorites that he would play. Like he really liked me and he liked some of my friends, but he wouldn't with others. If I didn't like hang out with him enough during the day, he'd be real pissy with me at nighttime, but then he'd warm up. Like, you get like real connected. We would chill on the couch watching TV. He'd fall asleep on my chest. But they have the same lifespan as hamsters. They only live like 3 to 6 years. So you have like almost a dog level of personality in this creature, and then it dies after. Like, it's too sad. I can't do it again. I can't it is so nice to have one, but I'm just telling her it's not funny. Like it's traumatizing. Like, it's really sad.
I
when
get
your
that.
hedgehog
I
dies.
should probably stop bringing them up then.
it hurts. No, it's okay, Joe. You're not the only one, because I think people view them like hamsters, but come on, they got that full-on brain in there.
They
got a
they're really fast too, right? They can run around really fast.
Oh my God. One time I forgot to put him back in his cage at nighttime, and I'm in the bathroom pooping in the morning, and all of a sudden I hear something behind the toilet, and then sprinting out in a blur is this spiky little monster, and I jumped through the roof. I was like, ah! I completely forgot I owned a hedgehog in that moment and thought there was just like a tiny demon running across the floor in my bathroom.
That's so funny. I wonder what he did all night.
Scared the hell. Yeah, just chilling, probably eating
collecting
scraps
rings
off the floor, and probably collecting rings around the house. Now, all of our jewelry disappeared after that point. Tommy said, like a bunch of old ladies, don't stick yourselves with your knitting needles. You got that, JL?
Got it.
What is that? Is that in reference to hedgehogs being spiky, you think?
I guess, yeah.
No, it's because you got blankets in your laps.
Oh, that makes more sense. Simon and I are just hamsters. Like,
old ladies apparently like hamsters. So that's the
Simon and I immediately went to hedgehog, needles, knitting needles.
Check. Nailed it, Tommy. Me and you are on the same page, Tommy. We are in sync. We are finishing each other's sandwiches this morning. George and you said, y'all have a good morning, gents. I'll catch you later. Catch you later, George. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us here.
Appreciate you, George.
Appreciate you, George.
And Jay, speaking of George's comment about Foreman, Jay, you were absolutely right about Deonta Foreman yesterday. Well done.
Listen, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Nothing else to add on that. You
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Yep. All right.
Did a good job. Did a good job right here. Jay, how do you have confidence in Deonta Foreman the rest of the season? JL and I talked about this a bit earlier. It looks like he's the lead back. Chuba Hubbard was back healthy, didn't get much work. This was definitely a weak defense that he went against. But how are you feeling about Deonta Foreman the rest of the season?
I think he's a fine start. I think he's a back end RB2, but if you can sell high, do it, because both of his big games have been against this weak Falcons defense. I would look to sell high if you could get a high end RB2, maybe somebody, I don't know, can't think of any names off the top of my head, but I don't think he's going to be reliable. I think he's going to have good games and these good matchups, but as we saw last week, his floor is pretty much zero. And Chuba will get involved, and who knows what's going to happen. If they go back to Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, maybe they throw the ball a little more. Old Peach didn't do a ton. He had a couple of good passes, and I would like to say my boy Laviska Shenault Jr. had a nice,
he did
41-yard touchdown run. I have to take advantage of being able to say anything positive when Laviska Shenault does it, because
I'm shocked you do not have your Visca shirt on today. Like I am. Well, I would have lost my life savings.
I wanted to honor the vets today, so that's why I went with the United States of America shirt. But
any other Friday, I would have been right. Any other Friday, you would have had that Visca shirt
I
on
legit.
right away.
I looked at it. I'm like, nah, gotta show some love to the.
Jay, did you start Laviska anywhere?
I actually did. I did have him starting a one dynasty league that, needless to say, is not doing too good this year. But I did get to start Laviska Shenault, and I believe he got me 15 points because there's a bonus in that league for runs over 40 yards. So
is this the league I'm in?
No, this is another league.
I thought this was the upside league, and I was like, oh, not doing so good. Dynasty must be that league.
No, there's another one that I'm not doing too good in Dynasty. So
Gotcha.
I'm a redraft boy through and through. So still getting my feet under me for Dynasty, but I'm set up pretty good for the future. So.
Oh, I love Dynasty. It's my favorite.
Why do they say get your feet under you? Aren't they almost always under you? And
Yeah,
how can they be under you if they're part of you?
That's a good point.
If you're trying to get stable, you're trying.
Like if I got my feet under me, there is a big problem that they are not connected to my body. I am way more concerned about the connection point than about their location. Like I don't care if they're under me, over me, beside me. Like they're not connected.
It's just not a very common problem I have. Like they're almost always under me.
Just wait till you get older. It happens. It's just one of those things. It's nature.
I think the last time my feet were over my head was when I went skiing and I full on cartoon character fell.
Swimming.
No, maybe
every single time I swim.
It's every single time.
Every single time I swim, it just happens. I don't know why.
It's because you jump in the pool and immediately you're like, watch what I can do, and you do a handstand.
Yeah.
You tell everyone, hey, look what I can do. Look
how straight it is.
Hey, watch my dive. Hey, did you see my dive?
Oh, this is only 4 feet of water? Don't dive? Okay.
That's okay. You can dive in 4 feet. You just have to dive far.
Sideways.
If you see the no diving signs, they're a recommendation. I'm just kidding. This is not legal advice, but I did not listen.
Yeah, in case you were worried, in case you stumbled upon our YouTube channel and was like, you know what, this could be a great source of legal advice.
Right. These guys know what they're talking about.
Jill, I did just let people know that I have experience as a defense attorney in my dreams. In a pretty high profile case as well. If I
Donald Glover came in and said, no, because I am.
Like, if I am trusted to defend the man being accused of being Satan, like, I don't know, you should maybe listen to my legal advice. Like,
if you have no idea what we're talking about, go back to yesterday's show when we were talking about, I think we were answering Reddit's questions and answering
no, it was a personal question. It was about Crazy Stream.
Personal question. Yes, for Craziest Dream, Simon told us a very wacky story, wacky dream he had involving Donald Glover and defending somebody accused of being Satan.
It's beautiful. That's all you need in a dream. You don't need anything else besides Donald Glover and a court case about Satan.
That's all you need.
We had a question in here from Adam. Adam said, I'm trying to trade to get Cooper Kupp. Who on my team should I try to trade for him? Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, Jeff Wilson, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Pittman, Kittle, and the Eagles defense. I mean, to get Cooper Kupp, you're going to have to trade Saquon Barkley, I feel like. And I don't think that makes your team better. I don't think it makes your team worse, but I don't think it makes your team better. JL, do you see another route here to acquiring Cooper Kupp?
So looking at Alex's trade value charts for this week, Peaked in High School, our good buddy Alex, who he has these market trade value charts that I'm looking at. Cooper Kupp, 71 trade value points. Saquon Barkley, 69.5 trade value points. So they are right next to each other. Simon, you are absolutely correct. If you want a 1-for-1, that's the only way you're going to be able to do it. Who's the other people on the team? It's Fields, Barkley, Jeff Wilson, Jefferson, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Kittle, Eagles defense.
Oh,
Somebody, but
one quick. I think it's confusing, but there's a comma there. I think it's Deontay Johnson and one of the Moores, because there is a comma there. I think DJ is Deontay Johnson, and then Moore is either DJ Moore, Rondale Moore, or more sauce, please.
More sauce, please. Yeah,
I'd stand pat, honestly. I wouldn't, unless you've got, backs, but, I love Jeff Wilson, but I do not want him as my RB1. And you've got good enough wide receivers with Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, who is leading as the most targets in the league without scoring a touchdown. That's going to change. And regardless, as long as it's not Elijah Moore, if it's Rondale Moore, I think you're fine. Pittman should see some better days. I would stand pat, honestly.
Joey in here saying if he prefers Jefferson over Kupp, yeah, you could always shoot that shot. Like if you like Kupp better than Jefferson, it seems like a lateral move.
I would rather have Jefferson.
I would rather have Jefferson, man. I'm concerned about Kupp's value for the rest of the season. With Stafford's already banged up. Concussion protocol. This offensive line isn't getting any better. If Stafford misses a lot of time, that really, really drops Kupp's value.
Yeah,
Jay,
I'm with him.
But they have John Wolford. Like, are you really concerned?
Sorry.
In the wings.
What
does that mean? What does in the wings mean?
In the wings?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it just reminded, whenever you said that yesterday, my girlfriend was heading out the door, and I keep messing up phrases, but it's one of her specialties is getting a phrase just slightly wrong. And she's heading out the door, and then she comes back in and grabs a box. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I thought you left. And she was like, well, I decided to kill another bird with this stone.
Leanne and I are the same person because I mess them up just slightly every time.
That's what Megan does. Is she combines two well-known ones and takes a little bit from each one and makes a new one all the time since we've known each other.
That one was my favorite because I knew exactly what she meant. Like she was already doing something while she was out. Might as well
kill another bird with this.
Kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, I already got this stone. I might as well kill another bird.
Right. Got rid of one. Let's go get rid of the other one.
I don't think she messed it up. I think she got it right. She just like
Improved
took it further. Yeah, she escalated it, which is great.
Tommy said the early bird is worth 2 in the bush.
Yeah, you know what? If I can get 2 in the bush, I would absolutely trade an early bird.
And that's how babies are made.
Yep.
I wants to know, Treylon Burks, any interest in him in general or over DeAndre Carter? Jay, I see you nodding your head. You got interest in Treylon Burks?
Yeah, I mean, this offense needs something. This passing game in Tennessee has been awful, and he was a highly touted rookie. He's raw, but, battling turf show coming back. He's a stash. He's not somebody I want to throw in my lineup right away, but we've seen time and time again that these rookies coming back towards the end of the season, they could be difference makers. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown last year. Look at Odell Beckham Jr., his rookie year. He came, and play the first half of the season, came back and was a league winner. So throw them on the end bench and see what they have.
Jill, you agree?
I agree. Absolutely agree. This is an interesting stat from Sean Calderon on Twitter. He said, according to Next Gen Stats, the average receiver separation in the NFL is 2.92 yards of distance. Titans rookie Treylon Burks is the only wide receiver on the roster who eclipsed that average in every game he's played in and finished. Tennessee desperately needs number 16 back. That's what he said on August 27th. Treylon Burks, he's a good player. He wasn't really making a big splash this past when he was playing in the beginning of the season, but I'm stashing him. If he can come back and he can make a name for himself here this season, it's going to be great. It's going to look great. Robert Woods really has not done anything there.
No, absolutely. I'm with you guys. Treylon Burks is worth a stash, but I'm not like forcing him onto my rosters. I think he could make an impact in this offense, especially with Ryan Tannehill coming back, but he's not someone I'm like hyped for, super excited for. Hal also want to know Latavius Murray or DeAndre Carter to start this week. So, Joe, would you be plugging in Latavius Murray or DeAndre Carter with both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams out?
Let me pull up their matchups real quick.
So the Broncos are playing the Titans and the Chargers. Who do the Chargers have this week? I'm blanking for a second real quick on this. The Chargers are playing, San Francisco. That's right. They got a decently tough matchup against San Francisco.
Yeah, it's DeAndre Carter for me, especially Mike Williams and Keenan Allen being out. I think this offense is going to just look different. It's going to work differently. And I want to stay far away from that Denver Broncos backfield.
Yep.
Jay, you agree and you going DeAndre Carter?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to stay away from Denver as much as possible.
And Jonathan Santiago in here saying pick one for flex, Swift, Pollard, or Lockett. So DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard, or Tyler Lockett. Jay, of those three options, which way are you going?
They mention if it's PPR or not?
Nope, nothing.
If
you can
all
mention it,
were healthy,
answer.
if all were healthy, no question. But I can't trust him right now the way that they're using him, unless they specifically come out and say that DeAndre Swift is going to get a full workload. I would lean Tyler Lockett. While I do like Tony Pollard, coming off a bye, I think that they're going to try to get Zeke even more involved. I think that's why they rested him that last game to get him healthy, get him back offense. So I'm going to lean Tyler Lockett. But Pollard, honestly, it's a good problem. All three of these guys are good plays.
Swift,
PPR.
Pollard, Lockett sounds like the next big hit summer song.
Pop, lock, and drop it. Swift, Pollard, Lockett.
Pollard, Lockett.
Swift, Pollard. What's the dance, Jay?
Swift, Pollard, Lockett.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good,
right? Pretty good. I would go Lockett. I'm with Jay. Then I'd go Pollard, then Swift.
I bet Jay dropped it pretty dirty in his day, like during the pop, lock, and drop it phase. I bet you have dropped it pretty hard.
He dropped it so hard.
Yeah, you don't want to. That's why I got back problems, because I dropped it so hard. So
with those frosted tips and the Hollister polo with the pop collar,
all that Hollister drip.
I didn't do the pop collar. I told you I don't like stuff around my neck. I don't do the pop collar. I may or may not have done the double collar.
What a boomer! What a boomer reason not to pop your collar. I don't like stuff around my neck.
That's the thing. I don't like stuff around my neck. Just me.
Apple bottom jeans, Jay. Did you have some apple bottom
with
jeans
the fur
on?
Oh man, that song was the shit. Remember that time? Remember that New Year's?
Remember that? Yeah, I feel like there's specific songs that take you back to like very specific days and years, and that was that New Year's. You're right. Like that song was just everywhere. What year was that?
He performed at like the ball drop or whatever, so it was like a big deal.
He performed at my ball drop as well. It was a big deal. Whenever we, my family celebrated it huge. Hired a couple musical artists to come and perform. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Guys, we are about to get into our next game that we are calling Fantasy Detectives. How this game works is I've got a series of clues that are going to slowly reveal more and more information about a player. I'll go one clue at a time, and you guys will take turns guessing who you think the player is. Get it right, you're going to get some points. The earlier in the clues you get it, the more points you are going to get. The later in the clues you get it, the less points. We'll take turns who's going first based on that round. And the person with the most points at the end of this wins. Jay, you're on a bit of a hot streak with our games here. But JL, I got a good feeling today. I got a good feeling that you're about to pull this victory out.
Oh, yeah. Jay won like both the games yesterday or multiple of the games yesterday.
He won 2 games yesterday. All he had to do was cheat. And he pulled out all the victories.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a cheating moment yesterday. What was it? It was Jay was like, oh, I don't know.
It was Jay. Jay couldn't think of a quarterback. Not a
I couldn't
single
think of an
one.
NFL team, let alone a quarterback.
And then he pulls out Tom Brady and Geno Smith.
Yeah, baloney.
Yeah, I can't think of any NFL teams. I don't know what's going on. Give me some time.
It was Queen's Gambit style where he looked up at the ceiling, but he actually just has his projector set up to do an extra monitor on the ceiling so that he can type and just have the answers up there.
Why does your phone look like a spider?
Got a bunch of different cameras.
It's like a straight up spider right now.
Oh shoot! There was a spider in my guest bedroom yesterday. Built a web and everything with bugs caught in it, and I was
And
like,
you
"Oh,
forgot to get it?
I was like, I'm gonna kill that after the stream. I'm gonna go or put him outside because he'll kill the bugs outside for me. I'm just gonna get him out of there." And I forgot. I hope he's still
You're gonna
there.
put him out there, and then the black widow that's sitting on your porch is just gonna sit there and chomp it up immediately.
Yeah, I'm just feeding the black widow on my porch.
Oh,
that's exactly what's going on. You guys ready?
You better do that soon. Because, if he's there for 7 days in a row, he legally owns that room now. Not sure if you knew that.
He's probably been there for 7 days in a row. I do not.
And your girlfriend.
Oh, shoot. Well, she's not going to be happy about that. She is not a spider fan. She's going to be pretty pissed. I'll go take care of that right after this. Don't tell his lawyers. They won't know. Here is your first round. JL, you are going to get to go first in this first round. You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
Here's the first clue. This running back grew up in Georgia.
This running back grew up in Georgia. Let's go with Dameon Pierce.
John Luke Garofalo, you have gotten it on the very first clue. It is Dameon Pierce.
Hey!
There are a lot of running backs from Georgia, but you picked the one that we are talking about. That is going to get you. How many clues did we have? 1, 2.
Talk about
3,
cheating. Jeez.
4.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
You are going to get 4 points for getting that on the first clue of the game. Way to start out hot.
I don't even know how I could have cheated, Jay, because, unless Simon gave me the answer. Running back from Georgia. Running back from Georgia is not much to go off of.
Yeah, you could have cheated just by looking at the answer key, but I don't think you did that.
No.
I've never known you to be a cheater. You lose far too often to be a cheater.
Way too often. Way too often.
It's like when I got a 32 on an exam in college and my professor called me into his office and accused me of cheating. And I just looked at him and I was like, Professor Martin, I'm stupid, but not stupid enough to cheat and fail. Okay? Like I'll do one of the two. If I'm going to cheat, you better bet I'm going to get I
have no moral or ethical concerns with cheating,
let's take the moral and ethical stuff out of this. You're insulting me. Right. You're insulting me by telling me you think I cheated and I'm so stupid that I can't cheat effectively. Like, you think I don't know there's multiple versions of the tests in there, Dr. Martin? I'm not stupid. Well, I am stupid, but just in electromagnetics, not in cheating.
Yeah, not in cheating. I'm very smart in cheating.
Made me so mad. JL, a clean 4 points for you, giving you an early lead. I'm going to read the rest of these clues just so you guys know. We have, before his football career, he was a self-described mama's boy. Would that have helped either of you?
Now he's not.
Now he's not. Jell, he's a big boy now.
He's a big boy.
He's got his big boy job.
I played
now.
in the NFL.
Yeah.
Before NFL, he was a self-described mama's boy.
Now he calls her mom instead of mommy. He made the switch finally
because all of his teammates made fun of him.
And I have no experience with that. I got mocked my freshman year of college because someone on the hall found my phone and they saw mommy and daddy saved in my phone, and it like it never stopped. The mock, it went on for years. I changed it. Like, to this day, I call my dad father because of the mocking I received freshman year of college. Like, I'm like, Dad.
Freshman year of college?
Freshman year of college, I got mocked relentlessly.
We knew each other?
We knew each other when I was still saying mommy and daddy. And it was a reality check. Why didn't they stop me? They should have stopped me at 15.
So
my
you
dad
just had no idea. This is the thing. You went into it thinking this is totally normal.
I thought it was totally normal. I thought everyone just kept calling him that.
And then someone started making fun of you, and you're like, "Oh no, this was something I thought was normal." But instead, it is in fact very abnormal, and everyone's making fun of me for it.
Exactly. That's exactly. And Tim, and you're saying we did what we needed to do, Simon. He was part of the crowd bullying me for calling my parents mommy and daddy at 19. Apparently, that is not okay.
If I'm talking to my older brother about my parents, and he still does it too, he's 43 years old, we say mommy and daddy talking to each other, like if we're talking about our parents. And my aunts and uncles, they all do it about their parents. I don't know, it's weird.
How?
Like if I'm talking to them, I'll say mom or dad.
Mom or dad. Mother, father.
I say mother and father a lot now. I waited too long to transition from daddy to dad. Know what I mean? It just didn't feel right. So I was like, we got to mix it up completely. It's father. Hello, father. Nice to see you. And Hallen here wants to know, Why is mama the sexy mom word and daddy is the
Ew,
sexy
no, it's
dad
not.
word? I've never
no,
heard
it's
mama
Ross.
as the sexy mom
What's
word.
I've
wrong
never-
with it? Come on, Al. You
Oh,
picked
that
the
got
most
me.
wholesome one. Why do you pick the most wholesome one?
He's a big mama. So maybe you have the big in front of there. That helps out a little bit, Hal. That helps out a little bit. You guys ready for round 2?
Yeah.
I guess.
I didn't even read you the rest of the clues. We got so
Yeah,
hung
we
up
got
on
so
mama's
stuck
boy.
on-
But that's okay. That's all we
Mama.
really need to know about Dameon Pierce. He was a mama's boy, and now he calls her mother. Now that he's a big boy in the
What are the
NFL.
other clues, Simon? What are the other clues?
He had his 75-yard run was the 3rd longest in team history, was the next one. Then we have this running back averages 9.2 yards per rush. The last person to do that on the same team was David Johnson. Was the last clue. That would have given it to you, right?
Yeah.
Unless you thought it was Benjamin
James
or
Benjamin.
James Conner Benjamin. Benjamin.
There
James.
you go. Benjamin.
I started combining Benjamin and Benjamin and realized that halfway through. Like I was trying to combine their names and then I realized, oh, both of the words I'm trying to combine are both Benjamin. It's not going to work. Jay, you've got the first guess in this round. Are you ready?
I guess.
Here's your first clue. This player's father was a linebacker for Eastern Kentucky.
Are we talking defensive players too, or is this all offensive fantasy players, fantasy related?
I don't know. We're just talking. There will probably be more information revealed about their position in later clues, so you can take your shot
Okay.
wherever.
I'm going to go with TJ Watt.
TJ Watt is incorrect. JL, do you have a guess? This player's father was a linebacker for Eastern Kentucky.
Let's go with Christian McCaffrey.
CMC is not correct. We're going to move on to our next clue. Jay, you're going to get a guess again. This player has a bachelor's degree in consumer and family financial services. This player has a bachelor's degree in consumer and family financial services.
Let's go with
Tyler Lockett is not correct. JL, what are you thinking here?
Ooh, it's Health and Human Services or something like that. I'm gonna go with Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett? I can't believe it, JL. You're wrong. After
it.
the immediate answer,
I knew
to the
that was
last
coming.
one, yeah,
You went way too quick with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Here's your next clue. This player has a 58.8 completion percentage so far this year. So to recap, this player's father was a linebacker for Eastern Kentucky. This player has a bachelor's degree in consumer and family financial services. And this player has a 58.8 completion percentage on the year so far.
Geno Smith.
It is not Geno Smith. Dale, you got a guess?
Yeah, I gotta guess. I'm trying to pick a guy who like a lot of these guys are just, that they just knew they were going to be football forever. So they wouldn't need to get some random consumer health and family service degree. I got to go with a player who thinks that they weren't going to make it in the NFL. So I'm going to go with Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton is incorrect.
Damn it.
Here's your next clue. This player is a vegan. Jay,
John-Luke Garofalo.
I'm sorry, JL Garofalo
You
is
would be
not
wrong.
correct.
I'm also not a vegan, so.
Oh,
Would you like to take another guess of an NFL player?
Yeah, let's go with PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. I don't know if he's a veg, but he is not the player here.
Don't say veg.
But peach to veg. JL, who's this vegan? That's a new game we're going to play. Who's this vegan? Who's that vegan?
Who is a vegan? I feel like, oh man, there was a player who we talked about being a vegan, and I can't remember who it was. Let's go with Let's go with Marcus Mariota.
Marcus Mariota is incorrect. Here's your next clue. This player has
Ain't no big.
This player has 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions on the season. Jay, who is this player with 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions?
I was just looking at players that had 10 touchdowns yesterday for Jeopardy, and the only one I could think of was Mariota. Let's see. Who? Low completion percentage. Decent amount of touchdowns. I am going to go with... Let's go Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is incorrect. Good guess, though. JL, where are you leaning here? 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Let's go with Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is the correct answer, JL. Justin Fields is absolutely the correct answer. You got that one right.
I remember the vegan clue now because it was around the conversation with Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and they were both coming out. And we found out Justin Fields was a vegan.
And it moved him up your rankings a little bit?
It did. It honestly did.
Honestly, just from like a willpower perspective, I think it should move. Like whatever you think about. I know some people get their jimmies all rustled whenever someone says someone's a vegan. For some reason, it pisses people off that maybe you eat kale instead of bacon. They can't handle it. But
yes,
from a willpower perspective, you know what? That's a big life change to have to make, and to do it for your health, whether you agree with it or not. Like, dude's dedicated.
Respect. Yeah.
Respect.
Got some discipline.
Football powered by soybeans and kale.
Plant-based football.
Plant-based power. You got it. Huel. You got that one right. Joey in here, he guessed Kenny Pickett, Case Keenum, and another wrong answer. So sorry, Joey. You were wrong 3 times. He came in and let us know that he guessed 3 times. So I was trying to shout him out thinking he got one of them right, but they were all, in fact, incorrect. Before we move on to our next round, Dale, you have a lead of 5-0 here in this game. Moravlis had a question for us. Said, should I trade my Derrick Henry for Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor? So Derrick Henry for Devontae Adams plus Jonathan Taylor. You're doing that, JL?
I would do that unless you don't have running back depth. Because you're taking on Jonathan Taylor, which is a risk. If he gets injured and you're left there with Devontae Adams and no running backs, you're going to be hurting. So I would make this trade without knowing the rest of your team, but you got to make that choice.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah, JL said everything I would have said, so nailed it on the head.
Nail on the head. We had one more question come in here a little bit earlier. Brandon wanted to know Trevor Lawrence or Jimmy G if Kyler doesn't play. So they've got Kyler looking at their backups. Would you start Trevor Lawrence in this matchup against Kansas City Chiefs or Jimmy G going up against the Los Angeles Chargers this week?
I would go Jimmy G probably going against the Chargers. I know. I kind of want to go Trevor Lawrence.
I think I'm going T-Law. I think they're going to have to. It's Kansas City's defense hasn't been anything special. Obviously, their offenses are going to be able to pretty much score at will. It might be ugly for the first couple of quarters, but I could definitely see some garbage time. Jimmy G's a safer play, but if you need some upside, I would go with Trevor Lawrence.
Kansas City giving up big points to opposing quarterbacks this season.
Big boy points. And
the Jaguars are not as good as the Chiefs, so they're probably going to be playing from behind, maybe even get some garbage time points in there. I'm rolling Trevor Lawrence out.
The thing for Jimmy G for me is
how
CMC.
Handsome he is.
And also how handsome he is. And CMC. CMC is very good.
He is very good.
A screen to CMC.
He's also handsome.
Counts as a passing touchdown for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Did you hear Ryan Fitzpatrick on the broadcast yesterday at halftime talking about the Laviska Shenault touchdown? He was talking about it. He goes, you know what? But PJ Walker, he's still learning. He'll learn. You just take a couple steps back and then toss that ball. That way you get all those passing yards on your stat sheet as well. Like, I just thought that was so real. Like, he wasn't kidding. You know what I mean? Like, he was being serious.
Right.
He was like, yeah, you want those 41 yards on your stat sheet, don't you, PJ Walker? You could have had them for free and still had the touchdown. But instead, you didn't get them. But you're right, JL. Those yards still count. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-yard pass to CMC that he takes to the house 50 yards. It's still 51 yards for Jimmy Garoppolo on that stat sheet for fantasy.
Yep.
Pretty happy with it. You guys ready for that next round? JL's got a commanding lead, up 5-0 in
He jinxed me, Simon. He jinxed me. I blame this all on you.
It's fair.
Okay, Jay, here is your first clue. This player leads the league in sack yards lost. So lost yardage by being sacked. This player leads the league in that statistic.
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford is incorrect. JL, do you have a guess?
Joe Burrow.
Joe
That's a
Burrow
good guess.
is correct. It's not just a good guess. It's the right answer, JL.
Well done.
Absolutely nailed it. Got that one right. The rest of the clues were a few years later, his high school named their stadium after him. This quarterback is an avid fan of Kid Cudi. On Cudi's Intergalactic album, there is a bonus track named after this player.
What? I didn't know any of those other facts.
Me neither. I'm reading these just shots.
What's the name of the track?
It's the bonus track. I have no idea. I'm not sure. I can Google it though and find out.
Named after him.
The track is
Joe
named
Burrow?
Burrow. So we probably could have figured that one out.
Wow.
That was a brain fart moment. It's named after him.
Named their stadium after him. Why?
Because he won the national championship, got drafted first overall.
Still, that's not weird.
To
Usually
the
named
Super Bowl.
after a donor, like I don't know, someone else who's not like super young.
It's less weird than like Michelob Ultra Stadium in Las Vegas. Know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure that's where like the Las Vegas. What's the WNBA team there? The Aces, I think.
Aces, yeah.
The Aces. They play at Michelob Ultra Stadium. Like I'd rather have Joe Burrow Stadium than Michelob Ultra Arena, right?
I guess just a little odd. My high school didn't name themselves their stadium Stephon Diggs Stadium.
Well, he didn't win the Heisman. Keith coming in here saying they changed the name after he won the Heisman. Could have gotten that done. Could have made that happen. And I bet your high school could reasonably name their stadium after Stephon Diggs now, and no one would bat an eye. You know what I mean? People would be like, yeah.
We have there are other players in the NFL from the high school, so that would probably be pretty disrespectful. Kendall Fuller, Dorian O'Daniel
Stadium. Maybe they could just combine them all. Dorian O'Diggs Stadium.
Dorian O'Diggs Stadium.
Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadomes.
Doug Dimmadome. Do you remember when that was like the TikTok trend? And they were just like Doug Dimmadomes everywhere. Like just the giant hats. Everybody was talking about Doug Dimmadome.
Doug
I have
Dimmadome.
no idea what you're talking about.
Fairly Odd Parents? You never watched that?
No. That was after my time.
Oh, that was right in our time.
My complete miss on figuring out what the track name was on a track named after the player where we knew his name reminded me of something I saw on TV last night. My girlfriend and I were watching Beauty and the Geek. Have you ever watched that show? It is the Ashton Kutcher produced it in the early 2000s, and it is one of the greatest awful reality television shows of all time. It was on WB. They would get 8 beautiful women and 8 incredibly geeky guys, pair them together into teams, and make the guys do things like fashion design or like stand-up comedy, like things that like geeks wouldn't do. And then they make the girls like do like computer programming and all these other things for challenges. But the show's so shallow because at the end, the lessons are always like, geeks are people too. Like even nerds are people. Every episode that
same lesson.
There was a question. They asked the girl, what does GQ stand for? And she said, men's fashion. Whenever they asked her what the letters GQ stand for in the magazine Gentleman's Quarterly, I felt a little bit like that.
Fashion.
GQ, men's fashion.
Eric and Joe Shiesty or something.
Could have been Joe Shiesty. JL,
Shiesty Stadium.
You got 9 points now after that one. Another 4 points onto your score. Eric and you had a question before we move on to the next round. So not the best situation, but if you had to flex one in PPR, AJ Dillon or CEH, which painful decision would you make? So AJ Dillon facing off in Germany, bright and early Sunday morning against the Seattle Seahawks, and CEH in that matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars that we talked about already. JL, which one of these would you be plugging in?
I'd be plugging AJ Dillon in. If Aaron Jones is at all limited with his injury stuff, if they're going to lean on AJ Dillon the most, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, while I think these guys, realistically, they're close to my rankings. I just don't trust CEH. I want to see it a little bit more. I think any game can switch and end up being a McKinnon game or a Isaiah Pacheco game. I would rather have Dillon here.
What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I agree with what JL said. And even though he wasn't able to punch it in, AJ Dillon got a couple of carries inside the 5. So he's getting used in the red zone. If he has any uptick of work, he punches one of those in, he's fine. You're more than happy if you get 6 points from AJ Dillon at this point, which is sad. All the hype that he had coming in. I do like CEH as well. I could see, but it's just unreliable. Got plenty of other backs that could get work. Got Kadarius Toney, who comes out of the backfield. McCole Hardman, who comes out of the backfield if he plays. So
it's a good matchup for AJ Dillon as well. And Aaron Jones has been banged up, so maybe he's slightly limited, even if he's a full participant ready to go. I'll throw AJ Dillon.
Gang.
Bang, bang, Niners.
Did you guys look it up and see if it's a real thing?
No, I'm not typing that in, Jay.
I completely forgot. There's no way I'm putting that into Google, but
it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
Or it's an elaborate
I
setup to get
believe
you guys to Google something that's inappropriate.
Yeah, very real. I'm sure, Jay. And everyone in the chat, you just messaged everyone else to tell them to tell us that it's real as well. I'm not falling for it. You can't trick me.
Not again.
Not again. You guys ready for your next round?
Oh yeah. I'm loving this game. This is really fun.
So
yeah, I'm not fond of it. I'm being honest.
JL, you have the first guess in this one, and your first clue is one of this player's hobbies is unicycling.
That's Dak Prescott.
It is not Dak Prescott.
I could see that. I could definitely see Dak Prescott.
As soon as you said that, I'm just picturing him on a unicycle 100%. Jay, who's the unicyclist in the NFL?
Daniel Jones.
No way can he figure out a unicycle. That dude can't even ride a bike.
I didn't say he's good at it. I said that's his hobby. He's trying to get good at it.
You're right. One of his hobbies is just falling on a unicycle. That's can never quite get it. It is not Daniel Jones. The next clue. This player's first job was at a lawn care company, which he owned. JL, unicycle hobby, owned a lawn care company.
Ezekiel Elliott.
It is not Ezekiel Elliott. Jay, you got a guess?
Damian Harris.
It is not Damian Harris. Your next clue. This player has 521 receiving yards on the season.
It's me first?
Yeah, it's you first.
500. How many? 500?
521.
521. That's 521 divided by 10. It's like 5.21 receiving yards. It's got to be running back. I'll go with CMC.
It is not CMC. Jay, where are you going here? This player has 521 receiving yards, and he's a unicyclist who owned a lawn care company. I don't know what else you guys need from me. Like,
right. I mean, it's obvious. I'm just having a hard time to think of it.
Lawn company.
There's just so many guys that ride unicycles.
Right, exactly. They wind up playing in the NFL as well. I mean, it's a well-known fact that most players in the NFL ride unicycles, and I'm not stalling whatsoever because I've got zero clue where I'm going with this. I'm going to go with Taylor. No, you can't. It's you said receiving, so that's not going to work. Let's go with Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson is incorrect. Here's your next clue. This player's comp coming out of the draft was his future teammate. So his comp coming out of the draft was a guy that he would be on the same team with.
Alvin Kamara.
Is not Alvin Kamara.
Jalen Waddle.
It is not Jalen Waddle.
I have more than 500.
We are going to.
I was thinking. I forgot the last clue. I just went with the most recent clue.
He's got like 500 in a game.
Yeah,
like a single game.
Here's your last clue. Last one. If no one gets it, there's no points. This player is currently 4th at their position in PPR leagues with 104.1 PPR fantasy points.
Oh no, number 4
with 104.1.
Josh Jacobs.
It is not Josh Jacobs. Jay?
Let's go with Saquon Barkley.
It is not Saquon Barkley. You guys got stuck on the running backs, and I tried to save you by saying number 4 with only 104 PPR points. The number 4 running back right now has 166.5 PPR points. This was a tight end. It was Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is the correct
I would have
answer.
never got that. I don't know freaking kind of bike he rides.
Dustin got this one in the YouTube chat, said, oh, wait, I know this after the second clue, after the lawn care company, and came in and got this one right. Nice job, Dustin.
Nice
Absolutely
job.
killed it.
Joey said Braxton Berrios. That's a cereal. That's not an NFL player.
It's both, JL. It's a cereal and an NFL player.
Oh, right.
What does the Braxton part taste like? Like I can picture the Berrios.
Metally. Very metally.
Why did I go to metal as well? Braxton.
I don't know. Braxton sounds like metal.
I was going to say disappointment, but
Braxton almost sounds like a Pokemon. Like
it does
like a
sound
steel
like
type Pokemon.
I choose you, Braxton.
We had some other guesses in the chat as well. Tommy going with Clowney and Hal guessing DK Metcalf. Tim guessed CMC in there as well. And we had an Eckler guess from Tim too, but it ended up being Mr. Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert was the correct answer, which means JL, you are going to be the winner of Fantasy Detectives today by a score of 9-0.
I guess.
Let's go.
You got swept. We had a question come in here from our friend Adam. What's up, Adam? Said,
What up,
y'all
Adam?
think Fields has a better passing or rushing game? Is plus 30 points possible again this game for him? With the matchup he's got against the Detroit Lions this week, it is definitely possible for him to have a 30-point game. Like, that is about as sexy as a matchup as you get for a quarterback that runs as much as he does. I mean, it's hard to call for anyone to have it, but if I'm calling for anyone to have that kind of week this week, Justin Fields seems like a pretty good bet. How do you guys feel about it?
I don't think he can have a better rushing game.
No.
I don't think that's likely. He had one of the best rushing games ever. Fields, I think he could have a better passing game. 30-point game is absolutely in his range of outcomes, like Simon said.
Jay, you got some confidence in Justin Fields?
I do, especially in this matchup. Anytime you've got a guy that rushes as much as he does, it just raises the floor and raises the ceiling. I echo what you guys said, 100% within the realm of possibility.
I've got him as a top 5 quarterback this week. Justin Fields is my QB5 on the week. I know it's a little bit high, but I just love this matchup for him. I love what he's been doing. That's what he's been doing the past couple.
I think QB3 over the past 4 weeks or something along those lines. So yeah, he's been there.
I'm moving him up there. And Hallen here saying he may run for 300. Have you seen the Lions? Wouldn't that be absurd if in back-to-back weeks he broke the single game rushing yard record? Like if he did it last week and then did it again this week, it would be the beginning of what we talked about, where he just breaks it every single week. We brought that up.
We did.
Boy, do it, Justin Fields, do it.
It'd be even better if he did it by exactly 1 yard every week.
179,
towards the
180, 181.
Yeah, towards the end of the games. Is he going to get it? Is he going to get it again? And there's a 1.
How high can I count? 182. What comes next?
183.
Oh, boy. And then I forgot how many weeks are in the season left after that, so I'm going to stop counting. Better Boston, you're saying save some rushing for Montgomery and Herbert, please. Have to start them both this week. I think you're going to be all right starting them, each of them. I think they're going to have decent enough games. Jay, would you prefer David Montgomery over Khalil Herbert still?
I'm a Herbert guy. He's looked better on the field now. I've been known to be a David Montgomery hater. I know he's the starter. Not a hater, just I really like Khalil Herbert. He's looked more explosive than David Montgomery on the field. And I would not be surprised. He's already done it a few times this year where he's outproduced Montgomery in games they both played.
Zahn here said, I just got to trade for Higgins and Schultz for Barkley. The only issue is that my wide receivers are Higgins, Gabe Davis, DJ Moore, and Palmer. My running backs are Dameon Pierce, Swift Williams, and Eckler. So that is a problem. I think you identified this properly. The value is there to trade Higgins and Schultz for Saquon Barkley. I think the value is on the Barkley side. That's the side I would prefer in a vacuum. But then your wide receiver core being Gabriel Davis, DJ Moore, and Josh Palmer as you're starting 3 wide receivers without Higgins. That's not ideal. Jay, would you be making this trade given the context of their team?
I would put it on hold and try to see if you can flip one of those other guys, Dameon Pierce, Swift Williams, Eckler, try to get a wide receiver that's better than Higgins, and then, do back-to-back trades and improve your team. Because it's definitely Barkley is a much better value than Higgins and Schultz. And obviously I love Higgins, but you can't deny Barkley is, one of the top guys in all of fantasy football this year. So
I think you still take it. Even though maybe it weakens your wide receiver core. Jail, what about you?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm I'm not going to take this one though. So I guess I'm not with you guys.
The exact opposite.
I would rather just have Saquon Barkley here. I love
But
Higgins.
that's what we're saying. We all agree
Okay.
then.
Okay, then we all agree. I sneezed in the middle of one of your answers and it threw me all off. It just messed my brain up.
Sneezes are wild, aren't they? Like it truly
are
is just such
truly
a
the weirdest
violent
thing.
experience for your whole body. Like all of a sudden you're just like thrown into another dimension for half a second, and then like welcomed back to reality very quickly.
And like I'm like getting a little sick right now, and so my head is a little bit foggy. So I sneeze and it just like rattles your brain for a second. It's like, whoa, where am I?
Who are you guys? Who are these assholes on screen with
What are
me?
we doing here?
Oh, no. Just sneeze and then get scared. Look at the screen. Throw your headphones. It's just like, what's going on?
Hal said sneezing is cathartic. I don't know if I agree with it. Like sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I really do not feel that way.
I love a sneeze, except I hurt my back about 2 weeks ago. And so now
sneezes are the worst.
Now whenever I sneeze, it's just like I just sit there dreading that I know it's just going to make me violently like spasm. Better Boss in here, a full-on facial orgasm is what he thinks sneezes. You know what? He's not wrong though. Sometimes like when you feel it coming and you're like, and then you look at the light, you look into the light bulb, and then the boogers just shoot right on out. It's like the full experience that you get.
Next topic.
Next. Yeah. Big Trev wanted to know, what's up, Big Trev? How do you feel about sneezes? He wanted to know Hardman, Thielen, DPJ, Singletary. Got to sit one in PPR. So Mecole Hardman, Adam Thielen, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Devin Singletary. JL, which one of those players are you throwing on the bench?
Probably Hardman. Probably Hardman out of that group. I'd rather start Thielen, DPJ, and Singletary this week. The injuries concerns are a little worrying. Or not injury, but illness, I think. Abdomen. He's got like an abdomen issue he's dealing with.
His tummy's upset.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I'm with you, Dale. Hardman, if he was healthy, would probably be the start over Thielen for me. But I'm a little bit concerned. Missed 2 full days of practice. It's going to be Hardman on the bench. But man, I want pieces, and keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it, because if Hardman is a full go at practice today, if it is just a health thing and he's ready to play, I want pieces in this Jacksonville Jaguars Kansas City Chiefs game. And I would throw Thielen on the bench if Mecole Hardman's a full participant today. Otherwise, it's going to be Hardman. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I like Thielen. I know I was talking up DPJ, but if all players are healthy, I would bench DPJ. But there's definitely conversation for Thielen as well.
And it's because you hate Donovan Peoples-Jones as a human?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's a little harsh, Jay, but I guess I'll let you have your own opinions there. I personally have no strong or negative feelings about him as a person, but I would plug him into my fantasy lineups.
I think he's probably a great person.
I think
his
last name is hyphenated, and that adds a little bit of bonus points to anybody's character score.
It's actually negative for me, so
because it looks like a minus sign.
Right.
It's the same symbol.
My mind just can't get past it. It's like,
it's tough. It's tough. It's a tough one.
Eric had one more question for us. He said, in a very deep league, PPR, pick one: Isaiah McKenzie, Alec Pierce, or risky Scotty Miller with Gage still ruled out.
Risky Scotty.
JL, are you starting risky Scotty, or are you plugging in Alec Pierce or Isaiah McKenzie in a very deep league?
I'd go Isaiah McKenzie going against Minnesota. It's a pretty positive matchup for him. Now, Josh Allen might not play this week. Something to keep an eye on. If that's the case, I might be tempted to play Alec Pierce, but for what we know right now, Isaiah McKenzie is the guy.
I mean, even if Josh Allen doesn't play, I still think Case Keenum is better than Sam Ehlinger as a quarterback for the wide receiver options.
One of them has won a Super Bowl.
So I think I'm still going with Isaiah McKenzie.
Wait, that's not true. Has Case Keenum won a Super Bowl?
I don't think so.
Am I just thinking of Nick Foles that they're the same player?
I think you're just like I think you view all backup quarterbacks as the same player.
They're all Nick Foles.
They're all Nick Foles. Jay, who are you starting here?
Yeah,
so neither of these guys have won a Super Bowl.
No. Isaiah McKenzie for me. I can't trust Scotty Miller. Alec Pierce, I'm not trusting anybody on the team led by Jeff Saturday. And Isaiah McKenzie, like you said, Case Keenum will be decent enough. He can get him the ball. He's been involved this year, so.
Absolutely. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some hypothetically and then spend some time answering your fantasy questions. So any questions you've got for us, please throw them in that chat, the BSN chat or the YouTube chat. And we would love to answer any of your week 10 or beyond questions. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just banning the porn bots real quick.
Whenever the porn bots, I will say, dude, whenever the porn bots show up, it means we're doing something good. It means that we're showing up. So, you know, they wouldn't find us if we weren't, if the live stream wasn't good. So, you know what? We welcome you here. Tinder-hot-.xyz best adult dating site. One of our biggest fans.
I detach all of my self-worth to how many porn bots come into our show in the morning. If we don't get any porn bots, I go the rest of the day thinking like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't Tinder-xyz.com want to hang out with me this morning?
Yeah. People ask, how was the show? I'm like, not that good.
No porn bots.
Porn bot showed up.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first kind of, where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah until he was about 19.
Nice. So, your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to him. I would say about he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required, and then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Jay, how you doing? You feeling all right? I do not have Jay. Looks like we had a question come in here from Big
There we
Trev.
go.
There we
I
go,
pulled
Jay.
Yeah, can you hear me now? I accidentally hit mute and forgot about it.
I can hear you. Jay, we had a question in here from Big Trev. Big Trev said, I've got a defense question. Do I stick with the Broncos or go to the Cardinals if Stafford doesn't play?
That's a very good question. I would still stick with the with the Broncos. It's definitely tempting with the Cardinals, but their defense hasn't been that great this year, and I could see, especially, there's a chance Kyler Murray may not play as well. Could be just a really ugly, slow. Both teams just trying to control the ball and not letting the guys air it out. I like what the Broncos have done on defense this year, so that's who I'd roll with.
Yeah, Cardinals are they don't have Buda Baker this week, which is going to be tough for them. That's definitely a hit. I would go Broncos, it's Broncos, right?
Yeah.
I'd go Broncos as well.
I'd go Broncos too. That's a badass name, isn't it? Buda Baker. Like
Buda
just
Baker.
the way you get to say it. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, like
Buda
Buda
Baker.
Baker.
Anytime the 49ers play the Cardinals, him and George Kittle get into it. All in fun, they respect each other, but he's going up to block him, and George Kittle's yelling, Buda! I love it.
Dude, I was watching I already mentioned this earlier show, but the Hard Knocks in season, highly recommend it. And they do a good feature on Buda Baker. There's like at one point where he's sitting there just like talking trash to Pete Carroll, and he's like, I respect you, Coach Pete. He said, Can I get some respect? And like holds his fist up. And Pete Carroll's just sitting there talking back to him, and then behind the ref just like fist bumps him, walks away.
That's cool.
That's awesome. I love players with like that kind of like attitude on the field, right? Like Christian Wilkins has that same kind of like they're competitive, but there's a playfulness to it. Know what I mean? It's not just like anger directed out there. Like some players are angry players, and some players are like playfully competitive.
Right.
And I don't think it's inherently worse. Know what I mean? Like some people like take it as like, oh, they're not taking it seriously. No, that's just how they process competitiveness.
No, I prefer that every single time.
Me too.
Throw comedy into it, and let's do it.
You have people, that are rivals of teams and stuff like that. There's fun, junk talking each other and going back and forth, but people take it too serious. It gets lame.
Yeah.
Dale, you ready for some hypothetically in here? Do we have some hypothetically prompts for us today?
We got a couple, but you're running it today, big boy.
Oh, I'm running hypothetically today, which means you guys, Jay and JL, you are going to be answering these. For those of you who have never played hypothetically with us before. How this works is I'm going to propose a scenario or a question to our contestants, to Jay and JL. Jay and JL, your responsibility, your only job here is to overthink the hell out of this question to the extreme. Tell me exactly what you would do, what would happen, and ask any clarifying questions that you need in order to do that. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Here is your first prompt. For the biggest player in the NFL, a marketing agency reaches out to you for a sponsorship. You're getting your very own sneaker. What are they called and what's your slogan? What are they called and what's your slogan? So you're the biggest player in the NFL, like the superstar, and you're about to get your own sneaker. What are you calling your shoes and what's your slogan?
When you said biggest, I thought you meant like size. So the first one that came to my mind was snacker, because I'm a big player, but I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board on this one.
Do we get to design the shoes?
If you would like to, but if you would like to have like a professional shoe designer design your shoe, you can have that as well. You'll work with one of these companies of your choice with their designers. You can have a direct say in it, or you can they send you designs, you provide feedback.
Now,
you can have Rob Deerdeck design it for DC shoes if you want.
Rob Deerdeck?
The Rob Deerdeck started his career as a shoe designer for DC.
From Big and Rob?
From Rob and Big, or from Rob Deerdeck's Fantasy Factory, or from Ridiculous.
Big and Rob, if you prefer Big.
I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but that's the reason why we got Patty from. We used to love to watch Rob and Big. And
really?
Meaty, their bulldog. Yep, that's what we fell in love with the bulldog because
I
of
used to
Meaty,
love that show.
I used to watch so much Rob and Big, just nonstop Rob and Big.
Absolutely.
R.I.P. Big.
R.I.P. Big.
So do what you said we're the biggest name in football. What am I known for? What are we known for?
Well, JL, you are definitely.
Do we know our position?
JL, I'm going to be real. You have transcended position into stardom. Like, players of this position are not usually superstars. You are a superstar long snapper, okay? Like where you have taken the world by storm. Reddit has leaked into the general NFL fandom, and what you're doing as a long snapper has never been done before in the NFL. And suddenly, the best player in the NFL is the long snapper for the Baltimore Ravens. You are the Baltimore Ravens long snapper.
Okay, that helps me immensely. And so we have to pick we're picking the shoe, the name of the shoe, slogan. And the slogan.
Maybe Tommy can help you out with the slogan once you get the shoe name in there. He's been killing it with slogans lately.
So the shoes are going to be called Las Tortugas.
Tortugas?
It's going to be turtle themed for the snap, long snapper. Snap the turtle. Las Tortugas.
I like how you went with that.
And our slogan is going to be nice and simple. It's going to be snap, snap.
Snap, snap. Do the shoes have snaps on them? No laces? Are they snap shoes?
All snap shoes. Yep.
No Velcro. It's just snaps. It's like the buttons on those Western shirts where it's like the little balls that you snap on.
Snap, snap.
Exactly.
Snap, snap, snap.
I like it. Las Tortugas, snap, snap, baby.
Let's
go.
See
I'm going to go with snip, snap.
You can steal mine?
Snip, snap. No, snip, snap is the name. And I don't know what the slogan is because I did not think that far ahead. But my thought process is they're going to be for on the field as well as everyday wear. So you can wear them, specifically when you're long snapping, or you can wear them when you're lawn mowing. Either one. Oh. That's actually the slogan: lawn snapping and lawn mowing.
Long snapping and lawn mowing. I think what happened here is Jay, riding your long snapper fame, thought, okay, I'm a long snapper too. I can get a shoe design out there.
I sure did.
And rode the coattails of John Luke Garofalo, the superstar long
snapper.
So what is my position then? Are we just going to?
You're also a long snapper. You're just not. You're the second best one in the league.
The second best. You're just. You're not.
But unfortunately, you are also on the Baltimore Ravens. So you are JL's backup. You're the backup.
I brought a lot of attention to our position. I'm pretty much making stars all across the league because, of course, as soon as there's a superstar long snapper, there's got to be other ones popping up.
Right, obviously.
And so
league.
Yeah. So you are both benefiting, and it's costing you that I'm in front of you.
We got snip snap. I like it. Snip snap and snap snap. Before we move on to our next prompt, we had a question in here from Big Trev. Oh, no, it was from XXX Lex. Welcome in, XXX Lex. Lex wanted to know Garoppolo, Dak, or Herbert this week. So Jimmy Garoppolo, Dak Prescott, or Justin Herbert. Jay, which of those 3 quarterbacks would you be throwing into your lineup in week 10?
If Herbert had his full weapons, I would definitely go with him. Who does Dallas play this week?
The Dallas plays
Green Bay Packers.
There's your answer. I go with Dak.
Yeah, I'd go with Dak as well.
You're going to go with Dak Prescott?
Yep.
Man, I do not know. I do not know. I think I'm going with Dak as well here. I wish Herbert had Keenan Allen still healthy. I want to start Herbert, but I do think it's Dak Prescott. Tommy in here saying, whether I'm long snapping or just napping, I always wear my Tortugas. Comfort in and off the field. Give you the confidence to break out of your shell.
Oh, my God. Freaking genius,
He's
Tommy.
writing the commercials for you guys.
Dude, that's professional copywriter right there. 86 by 87.
86 by 87. That one is still just living in my head, right?
We need to get that on the shirt for sure.
I don't know why I keep thinking the Packers are playing in Germany this weekend. Like I know the Seahawks play the Buccaneers, but I keep on thinking that the Packers are also playing in Germany.
Where just
playing?
It's
not
the cheese,
Germany. It's probably the cheese. They're either playing in Green Bay and or Dallas, Texas.
I think it's Green Bay because I think I remember hearing something about Mike McCarthy returning to Green Bay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That has been a big storyline. We haven't even mentioned that.
We love revenge game narratives. I know Joey was talking about it yesterday. He's saying he's abandoning all other analysis and just going full revenge game narrative next season. Like every week is just going to be a revenge game article. I wanted to know, are you trying to get rid of the Packers? Are they that bad? Like if you've got Packers on your team, are you trying to get rid of them? Oh, no. Yeah. He asked me if I was just trying to get rid of the Packers by sending them to Germany. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's just wishful thinking. Guys, you ready for the next hypothetically prompt here?
Yep.
We got another one for you. Here is your second prompt. You have a big meeting with the Mr. Disney to pitch a character for a new movie. You went out drinking with your friends the night before and forget to write the new character. You rush to the meeting to meet with Mr. Disney. Which NFL player do you use as your inspiration as your new Disney princess? And what's the main synopsis of that movie? So you completely forgot. You've got this big meeting and then you go out with your friends like, oh, let's just have a beer. Like one of those like classic, like let's just meet up for a beer, watch a little bit of the game. You had more than one beer. You had more than 2 beers. You had more than 5 beers. It is now 3 a.m. and you're in an Uber on your way home and you're thinking, oh my God, I've got this meeting bright and early and I haven't done a single thing. So you go back to your NFL knowledge. Which NFL player are you basing this new Disney princess off? And what's the movie like? What's the synopsis?
This is so I don't even have to ask any clarification questions. I already have my synopsis in the movie. I'm going with Moana 2, the sequel, and it's starring Tua Tagovailoa. It's going to be a beautiful hero story where Tua returns to the islands and is the hero. And he joins forces with Moana to defeat the evil volcano guy from the first one who comes back. And that's going to be the end of the story. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. So Moana is also in the movie?
Moana's also in the movie.
And so you did not make Tua a princess. You're just plugging
No, Tua's a princess. No, Tua's definitely a princess. Returns to the island as a princess for sure. Yes, there are 2 princesses taking down this evil volcano guy.
Is he still Tua Tagovailoa or is he?
Yes.
Okay.
Quarterback of the Miami Dolphins quarterback franchise.
Also, Hal letting us know it's a girl volcano, JL.
Tafiti. You're right. It is absolutely
The Rock is the heart of Tafiti.
And yes. Tommy said Moana 2, the sequel.
Yes, that's it.
Let's go.
So I do have a question. Walt Disney is dead. So am I talking to? Is he risen from the dead?
He frozen AI consciousness.
And I am going to say, nowhere did I say Walt. I just said Mr. Disney. You can take that as literal. His last name is Disney, or just like. You got a meeting tomorrow. You don't really know. You just know you're meeting with Disney. You're calling. You got Mr. Disney written in your calendar. Know what I mean? Like that's who you're meeting.
Is Mr. Disney like the risen corpse of Walt Disney, or is this just like
he's just the man who's going to green light your movie? He's the guy who's in charge of green lighting your movie.
Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I'm I'm going to go with, we've got Disney Plus, so they have not only some cartoons and stuff like that, but they've got a little edgier stuff as well. So I'm going to go with a buddy cop movie with Stefan Diggs and Josh Allen.
Both princesses?
Yes, both princesses.
They have to be princesses. That's one of the rules in this. Okay, so it's a buddy cop princess movie.
Right. They go undercover. They go undercover at a princess convention. And they're trying to find the heart of Tafiti as well. It's a crossover with Moana 2.
So are Moana and Tua going to appear in your movie as well, Jay?
Yes. Yep. Like how the end of Marvel movies, that they have that teaser at the end credits, at the very end, shows up, boom, Tua and Moana.
Beautiful. At a princess convention. Stefan Diggs, Josh Allen at a princess convention. Dustin in here had an answer for us. He said, clearly Russell Wilson. The character is super cringy and annoying, but thinks all the princesses love her, but really they just tolerate her. She has to learn her true self to be loved.
Oh, that is so sad for Russell Wilson.
But I like that movie. I want to watch that movie. I want to watch
the heck out of that.
I want to watch the princess look in the mirror and like just look at the mirror and like a tear comes down their eyes and they go, let's ride. And that's how the movie closes.
That's right.
Dustin said, spoiler, she never finds love.
Oh.
Keith in here with one as well says Tom Brady is cursed by witches and has to regain his ability to play football again. So he loses his ability to play football via a curse from witches and has to go on a journey to regain that ability. Is that just this season?
This sounds like a weird, like someone went to go write a movie after they got divorced and they're just like mad at women in general. Tom Brady's cursed by witches, and witches represent like the female population.
This is like a red pill incel movie, like where they just put it out there.
So weird.
Also, Hal said Trevor
Not
Lawrence,
watching that one.
Rags to riches story for Trevor Lawrence. Rags to riches. What happened?
I don't know what rags that guy ever came from.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think he's ever seen rags in his life.
Riches to riches. The Trevor Lawrence story.
Riches say riches.
That would be a pretty. Oh, and Hal said the Jags. The Jags are the rags, and he's going to turn them into
Urban Meyer is the rags.
You know what?
And Urban Meyer. That's a good call.
That is an accurate rag for Urban Meyer. We had a question in here before we get on to our next one. Zach wanted to know, which side are you taking? DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, or Deebo Samuel and Juju Smith-Schuster? JL, what are you doing here?
What was the first side?
Swift and Williams. So the running back duo out of Detroit.
Or
Deebo and Juju.
Oh, I would go Deebo and Juju.
Jay, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I agree. There's just too much upside, especially Juju's looked really good lately. I think he's been a wide receiver one or very close to it each of the past couple of weeks. So, yeah.
I think it's pretty fair. I think it's just going to depend on your team. If you need running back depth, this is probably a solid move. Or if you don't need running back depth, it's probably a solid move.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, Jay. Like on paper, I like the Deebo and Juju side, but that's also two running backs. Trading them away is difficult in fantasy. Like there's not a lot of startable running backs, so you just got to have the depth to make that. But Zal, the value seems to be on the side of getting Deebo and Juju. That's where I would lean. On this one. I think we got time. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Hal in the chat said Miami defense or Cardinals defense this week. Which one are you guys starting?
The Miami Dolphins going up against Cleveland. The Cardinals going up against the Rams.
I think I would go Cardinals in this case against the Rams, especially if Stafford is not playing.
Yeah,
Dolphins defense is not good, even with the addition of Bradley Chubb. That didn't fix it. So I expect Cleveland. To be able to score. This is going to be a high-scoring game. I'll go with the Cardinals as well, especially if Stafford doesn't play like he said.
Yeah. Please.
Do you guys start the Cardinals defense or the Raiders defense this week?
Cardinals or Raiders?
Yeah, Raiders going up against the Jeff Saturday-led Colts.
I would start the Raiders in that case.
Yep, agreed. Fully agree.
That's one line I'm having trouble setting this week. Is like, where is that Raiders defense line? Know what I mean? Like how high? Because I feel like it's all narrative, right? Because their defense is bad. It has been bad so far this year. So you're fully just going, well, these Colts just fired their head coach, brought in Jeff Saturday, Sam Ehlinger starting at quarterback. Like you're buying into all of this, meaning that the Raiders are going to be able to step up. But I do buy into it. I believe that the Raiders will perform against the Colts this week. I just don't know quite how high to put them. Like 49ers against the Chargers or the Raiders against the Colts. Where would you be going?
Raiders.
You said 49ers versus Raiders. In that case, I'm going 49ers.
49ers against the Chargers?
Yeah.
But Jay, you would go Raiders?
Yeah. I mean, I think Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert are enough to keep me away from that game.
What about the Steelers against New Orleans or the Raiders?
It's tempting to go with the Steelers with TJ Watt expected back, but I'm still going to go with the Raiders. And JT's banged up. Deion Jackson hasn't been practicing, so could be Zach Moss time in Indianapolis, and that's something I want to take advantage of.
The JT was a full participant at practice yesterday.
Okay.
For people watching, he did practice in full. Now, I agree with you, Jay. I'm still nervous. He has been banged up, and this team isn't very good. And he is the future. So hopefully he gets some work, but I'm still a little bit nervous for JT. Craig and you said, you guys really had me sad when you didn't answer any new questions on FYF After Dark on the Better Sports app. Hundreds of questions, no answers. Yeah, that's because we were sleeping.
I was fast asleep.
That was not actually me. That was a simulation of me, otherwise known as a recording.
Deep fake.
It was a real deep fake of a real. It was a deep reel.
Is a real deep fake. I like that wordplay, Simon.
That's just what we call videos, our real deep fake. Also, Zon, you're saying he has Brian Robinson and Henderson, the guy that he's trying to trade, and Henry as an RB. Sorry for all the questions, but y'all always give the best advice. Do not apologize, my man.
Never
we love questions.
Apologize.
We absolutely love answering these questions. Hal wants to know, what will Saturday-led Colts game plan be? I think your guess is as good as his. Like whenever he's asked about it, he basically said like, yo, the coach and the offensive coordinator are gone. We're going to do our best, man. Like that was his answer. He's like, this is really hard and there's a lot of missing pieces. We're just going to try our best.
That's another reason why I want to play the Raiders, because I can see Jeff Saturday just going out there and trying some random crazy stuff that leads to touchdowns and turnovers. And I mean, they got some guy that just was playing Madden in the lobby calling plays for the Colts this week. So
now Jeff said, I think he's going to be more conservative. You remember he did say, I'm an offensive lineman, bruh. Whenever he was asked about going for it on fourth down, he said, I'm not doing it. He goes, I'm an offensive lineman, bruh. Those yards are hard to come by.
Yet you know what? That bruh tells me everything I need to know. He is just going to let loose and go wild.
I'm Jeff Saturday, bruh.
Saturday, bruh.
What do you want to do, coach? Let's wing it, bruh.
I don't know, Sam. Just slinging around out there. Craig said offensive lineman touchdowns. Oh, we can dream. We can dream that we get an offensive lineman touchdown.
Sam runs up to Jeff Saturday right before the game. What should I do, coach? He's like, just wing it and sling it like I do. Sam.
Bruh.
Hal says, I want to get a ticket on Jeff Saturday becoming a Hall of Fame coach. I did see a post on Reddit yesterday that someone made.
I'll take your money. I'll be your bookie on that
one. There was someone on Reddit, though, that said, imagine the chaos that ensues in the NFL if this works.
Right.
Because the NFL is a copycat league. It happens over and over again. You see it. If the team finds something that works, other teams try to copy it. If this works, we will probably see a rash of coaching hires in a similar vein to just like former player, no experience, but they're a leader of men. Let's bring them in, this leader of men who knows the franchise. And even if it works here,
Elon Musk, new head coach for the Indianapolis Colts.
I'll make him the coach of the Commanders. That fits.
Eli Manning, head coach of the New York Giants.
Oh my God, I could see that, and he would
sit there. He just was dumb Manning face and not say anything, but they'd figure it out somehow.
I feel like he'd succeed.
I just want to see an NFL where like all of a sudden one season we've got like 4 head coaches with 0 head coaching experience above the high school level. And they're just like former players.
Or like random celebrity, like Ninja.
Dr. Disrespect. the head coach of calling plays.
He replaces Shanahan.
Zac Efron and Whoopi Goldberg are co-head coaches on an NFL team. I'm pretty sure the View, just as a whole, it has an NFL team that they are the head coach for. And every morning they talk about their personnel decisions on the morning show. On the View.
Wild. I'd watch it, to be honest.
Dustin said, sounds like a good segment for tomorrow. What former player should coach each team? Is Dustin saying this sounds like a good segment, or is he throwing shade because tomorrow's Saturday and he wants us to talk about this when no one can listen?
Oh.
Or maybe he wants some more. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe he's like, you guys should also be on Saturday.
Maybe that could be it, but no.
Yeah,
Nick, way too tired. Nick Durson here said, I want to see a kicker or punter as head coach. And I think we were all thinking the same thing. Pat McAfee. We all want to see Pat McAfee as a head coach of an NFL franchise.
I thought you guys were going to say Morton Anderson, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
Pat McAfee's halftime speeches, all of them would have to be nationally broadcast. Every single one of them.
And they would be. You know he would.
He absolutely would. That man, for better or worse, is so petty. Usually for better. Usually for better. And I know it's part of the show, but he takes personal slights and he does not let them go. He is like, we're running with this. It's a segment now. If they're down at halftime, that dude is going to get them so pumped up. That would be so much fun. Pat McAfee is an NFL head coach. Maybe
that'd be so much fun. I would watch every single game.
Justin Tucker, get him in there.
He'd be pretty good. Opera.
You're right.
He'd be pretty good. And doing Royal Farms commercials.
And Tommy said Rodrigo Blankenship. Yeah, let's skip the rest of his kicking career. Who cares that he's maybe got 15 years left on his kicking career? He's going to be the head coach of an NFL team. Jeff Saturday, head coach. Rodrigo Blankenship, offensive coordinator.
I would watch it. I take it. Greg the leg.
We had a question in here from Kegcard. Kegcard said, my team is Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, J-Jet. Is that Justin Jefferson? Am I messing that name up? Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, Kenneth Walker. And then on the bench, they got Tyler Lockett.
Championship.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Tyler Lockett on the bench, Mike Williams also on the bench, and they're 5-4, one game from the playoffs. They got offered Mahomes, Etienne, and Kenneth Walker for Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, Amari Cooper, and Deebo Samuel. So they would be sending away Patrick Mahomes, Travis Etienne, and Kenneth Walker for Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, Amari Cooper, and Deebo Samuel. Would you guys be making this move?
I couldn't do it. Generally, I do want the best player in the trade, which is CMC from a fantasy standpoint, but I think ETN is close enough. Kenneth Walker has really turned it on as well. Amari has been a surprise, and I do think better days are ahead for Deebo, but right now, Mahomes, they are just throwing the ball. I think he threw the ball 67 times this week. He looks great. Herbert, he can't get his weapons on the field. He's been dealing with that rib injury. Give me the running backs. Give me ETN, Kenneth Walker, and the better quarterback.
What about you, JL?
Yeah, I agree with Jay here.
I'm saying just trade your whole team with each other. Yeah, this is a big trade. I'm maybe not as confident as you guys because I'm looking at what the starting lineup would be. Mahomes, I would definitely rather have over Herbert. But then when I look at the running backs, you're starting Saquon and CMC at your running back position if you make this trade. At wide receiver, you're starting Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel. And then at your flex, instead of Justin Jefferson and Michael Pittman. And then at your flex, you're starting Amari Cooper instead of Kenneth Walker, which I think is comparable at the flex. Like Amari to Kenneth Walker, I think is a comparable flex play. Deebo, a definite upgrade over Michael Pittman. And CMC, an upgrade over ETN in that RB2 spot. I think your team's better if you make this trade. As I break it down that way, I'm going to disagree with you guys. I think your team is better after making this trade with Saquon and CMC as your two starting running backs, and then Justin Jefferson and Deebo Samuel as your two starting wide receivers. Kenneth Walker switch to Amari Cooper in the flex. I'm doing it.
Simon, you convinced me. I'm doing it too.
I get what you're saying because my immediate reaction was no way trading away those two stud young running backs. But then I looked at what the lineup would be. It would be a better lineup. Unless you think Mahomes is that much higher than Herbert. You know what I mean? If you believe Mahomes is that much higher than Herbert rest of season, then maybe it's not a better lineup. But I don't think that way. I think Herbert getting healthy and starting to get some receiving options back, he's going to be good rest of season. And Hallen here bringing up a good point saying Cooper getting Watson soon too. Yeah. So, Jay, do you think Deshaun Watson raises Amari Cooper's value rest of the season? Because he's been getting it done with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe there's concerns about chemistry with Deshaun Watson coming back.
I think it's going to shoot him up even higher. I think he's been doing fantastic with Jacoby Brissett. He's shown, Amari Cooper's one of the best route runners in the entire NFL. Deshaun Watson, talent-wise, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think it's going to be a sight to see when he comes back. Amari Cooper could wind up being a league winner this year, as cheap as you were able to get him.
I feel so stupid. It's the first year I was out on Amari Cooper.
Me too.
Since he's been drafted in the NFL, I've had him on most of my teams. And then this year I was just didn't want anything to do with the Browns. I didn't want a single thing to do with the Browns. JL, do you think Deshaun Watson's going to help Amari Cooper's fantasy value or hurt it?
I think that he's going to help it. I think it'd be hard to hurt Amari Cooper's fantasy value. See many situations where that's going to hurt where it's going to hurt his value. Deshaun Watson is an upgrade from Jacoby Brissett, and Amari Cooper's the guy there.
Hallen here saying DPJ is the new Will Fuller, though. Do you guys remember that Will Fuller stretch with Deshaun Watson where 4 games in a row his stat line would be 2 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 1 catch, 98 yards, a touchdown. It was 4 games in a row where it was 7 targets, 6 touchdowns over 4 games or something stupid like that.
Yep. But that's who DPJ has always been. So DPJ is just the new GPJ.
GPJ
is the new
I will
GPJ.
say I don't know how true it is, but I saw a rumor that Will Fuller is either considering retirement or signing with the Browns to pair back up with Deshaun Watson.
Either way, doesn't matter.
I in the last league where I was still holding on to Will Fuller, redraft league, there was one league with really deep benches, where I had 11 bench spots in a redraft league. I finally let him go this week. Finally released Will Fuller, and watch, now he's going to sign and come back and have a 2 touchdown game. You know what? If you love someone, let them go. And if it was meant to be, they'll come back to you. If he blows up and he's still on the waiver wire, I'm not counting this relationship out. It's just over for now.
It's over.
Kedcart updated us a little bit. So the original offer was Mahomes, ETN, and Kenneth Walker for Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, and Waddle. Would you guys prefer Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, and Waddle?
To Debo and
Amari instead of Waddle. So they changed it to Debo Samuel and Amari Cooper instead of Waddle.
No, I think I'd rather have Amari and Debo.
I think giving away as many starting players as you are, you need the 2 guys because you're going to play both of them. Amari and Debo would end up in your starting lineup. I don't know who's on your bench. What about you, Jay?
I don't know. I'm super high in the Miami offense. I love Waddle. I'm a little concerned about Debo, especially having CMC. That's one thing too. You'd have a wide receiver and a running back on the same team who kind of play around the same part of the field with Debo in the backfield. So I think I would rather Waddle. I would shoot for the upside of Waddle. It's very close though.
I do love some Waddle this year. Everybody who hung out with us this morning and every day this week, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time. We are Front Yard Fantasy. This is the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. And if you enjoy what we do over here, great news. You can head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy for more of the same nonsense. There's more of me, Jay, and Jay, along with the rest of our team over there. Everybody, make sure you're sticking around here on Better Sports Network the rest of the day for more sports. We've got Moose and Keith on right after this. Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru. Then Corey, Nando, and friends there to answer all of your most difficult fantasy football questions. Happy Week 10, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday football. And until Monday, we are out of here. Adios, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day. Thanks to all the vets out there.